does not look familiar at all. What is B team?
B team is what we like to call this game right here that we haven't played for 2 months. It has been 2 months since last time. We missed March B team because of I don't know, something. And now we are back. So I went ahead and went back and looked back through time at the video that we took previously of what happened last time we were here together to play B team. And it was a very interesting night, I must say. So basically, it went with, there was the final battle with the creature that you knew as Vul, the
Hawk guy,
the owl guy, and you finally sussed him out, and he reverted to his true form, which is this freaky deaky thing right here. Hold on a second.
A lot scarier than the owl form.
Sort of a weird kind of tentacled glob of goo that had what you could easily see were the bones of fey creatures sort of enmeshed within it. He fought with bravery and skill, but ultimately the idea of all of you sort of standing around were attacking him were able to defeat him very easily. Hey, wait a second. Where is Eric?
I was wondering that myself.
Yeah, he said he was going to be late. Family stuff.
Did he? Okay, I didn't see that. Where did you guys see that?
And he also says he dares you to do anything about it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'll do something about it. He's down to 1 hit point.
He sent an email.
Oh, I see it. Okay, gotcha. All right, so you guys fought Vul and ultimately managed to defeat him. Vondrum delivering the killing blow, although everybody had a great deal of thing. One of the things that you guys noticed was after the aftermath, in which almost all of the little fays, including Papovin, who is the leader of the Fae, were just dumbfounded. Papovin even said, he's like, look, I knew Vul his whole life. And this was not him, and you guys couldn't really put together, what the deal was with this guy. Had he been possessed? Had he been taken over by another creature or killed and replaced by some sort of doppelganger-like thing? Nobody knew, but everybody, all the Fae, were just completely flummoxed.
We knew, actually.
What did you know?
That he wasn't himself. None of them believed us, but we knew.
Well, that's true. They did not believe you. Not until the creature known as Vul came out and basically attacked as a thing. As part of that, everybody all of the Fae around here being so flummoxed about this, basically they were so shocked and surprised by seeing Vul, not only Vul turn into this creature, but you guys sort of step up and defeat it and fight it, that they forgot to sing. And there was a moment that after the thing where everybody's sort of just standing around gawking, and there's silence in the air. And it was at that point, I think it was Arendar looked out into the water, and there was a column of steam coming out of a place in the water, out about, I don't know, maybe 50, 80 feet out into the water. That was, and the water where this steam was coming out was sort of bubbling, like it was boiling. And Arendar pointed this out, and then Tilgen is like, start singing, that kind of stuff. And everybody started singing again. And Arendar, you watched as the singing, once the singing began again, it took a few moments, but the column of steam began to sort of dissipate and sort of, get winded around. And finally, the surface of the lake reverted back to the sort of calmness that it had. But it was definitely, you have no doubt in your mind, Arendar. Nobody else really saw this, but you have no doubt in your mind that it was affected by the singing. The stopping of the singing caused this steam to begin coming out of the surface. And into your eyes, it was maybe 10 seconds that the singing had stopped. And it was after they started singing, it was probably another 5 or 6 seconds for it to start dissipating and that kind of stuff. So, but you're absolutely certain, at least to your mind, that it was the singing that was stopping it, or causing it, in this case, in the lack thereof.
So we're not stopping that again.
Well, that was kind of what Indomitable wanted you guys to do, was to stop. He told you, stop the singing and I can be released. And that it gets even more complicated because at that point, Papavin went to everybody and said, look, I was fucking wrong about you guys. I was literally wrong about everything that you guys have said. Everything that you said that since you've come here has been correct. Everything that I have believed has been wrong. I will never make that mistake again. You are obviously chosen of Anyariel. You have been brought here by her to guide us. Tell us, what should we do? Should we sing or should we not sing? That was the original question that they wanted to ask you before. That was the question that Vul had posed the counterpoint to and tried to sell you on the answer. And now Papavin is asking, I was wrong. I will never question your judgment again. What should we do? And you told them to continue singing.
Right now.
And they said, all right, that's what it is. We will sing. Tamber's order stands. We will continue to sing. And not only that, they were sort of like very joyful about it, that they've defeated this creature. The songs and all the Fae that were sort of like wandering about or shocked and that kind of stuff began singing, and they all sort of went over to the tower that overlooks the water. And even right now, they are singing this song of forms out onto the water. Tiljian is leading them, and they are cheerful and happy in the reassurance that what they have been doing for the last several decades is the right thing, because you have reaffirmed this for them. You have told them that this was the way to Papavin basically says, you guys are from Anyariel, and I was wrong. I misjudged you. I questioned you, but I will never do so again. And he asked you flat out, what should we do? And you guys said, keep singing. And he's like, done. We are in it, and they are singing even now.
Okay, we said keep singing.
So they ignored my suggestion of group seppuku.
They ignored that weirdly. They decided, hey, bud.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, bud. Get some good sleeps.
Okay, these two have a contest on which one can get a bigger reaction out of you guys. Go on.
I can it.
Go to bed.
Good night. Good night.
You should see them. If you can see from my point of view, they camp out the office, and then they see who can get in here and who can get the most waves or the better reaction. So no, since they're listening to us, I'm pretty sure whoever brought us there said that we need our shoes shined and some turkey pot pie.
Well, Papavin has basically said, look, these guys are from Anyariel. They are honored guests. They are from our, and that Anyariel is basically the patron saint of this region. And so these Fae, between Guinevera and Tamber and Anyariel, that you've sort of sussed out that Guinevera and Tamber and Anyariel had some sort of relationship together, that, the outcome of which caused Guinevera and Tamber to hate each other. And that's why Guinevera, if you recall, was so adamant that if Tamber told these Fae to do anything, it was probably wrong and almost certainly selfish. But Guinevera was killed by Vul when she came over to speak to Vul privately. Vul asked to speak to her privately, and then came out, and that was when you guys sort of jumped him. Came out and said, Guinevera, I told her the story of what was going on, and she killed herself. And so later on, Wraith went inside Vul's quarters and found, a blood-splattered Guinevera on the floor with her throat cut out and a small knife in her hand.
Didn't Lorelei see that happen?
Yeah, Lorelei actually witnessed the whole thing, so we knew exactly what happened.
Right, but Vul was still trying to convince everybody that, especially Papavin, that Guinevera had killed herself, and that despair was at hand. But you guys, that was what prompted you guys to attack the creature. So you've got a couple of things going on, right? So you've, for better or for worse, you've contravened your agreement with Indomitable, and technically your agreement with Kazakh, the demon who you made a deal with, because he wants Indomitable released as well. But he also, I don't know that you guys have provided him the copies of the material that you're going to take to the city, sort of as we go forward. So you've got that. So you've basically told these Fae, the opposite of what Indomitable wanted. You don't know necessarily where Tamber exists because it was Vul, I think, or Guinevera that knew the location of Tamber where she lived. But now that Guinevera is dead, you're not sure.
I thought someone told us here that they knew.
Well, Papovin said that he had a general layout and that he was going to petition Anyariel as a as the patron saint of this region to tell him or somehow divine where Tamber was, and that he was going to do that to give you guys an idea where Tamber is. He hasn't done it yet, because right now we start tonight. They're singing. The body of Vul is lying on the ground, melting into the sand, and Wraith has just come out of Vul's cave and basically saying, "This piece of crap has no money and no magic items. I got 0 out of there." He's not saying that, but he might have.
Oh, he'd probably say it.
Because that's
I did get the Masterwork swords we gave her back.
Yes, you did. From Guinevera?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got him. Well, that's another thing. Guinevera's place is now uninhabited.
Yeah, we're gonna go loot that.
Okay, Gordon, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay. Anyariel, it's been so long, I can't remember. We talked to her, right?
No, you didn't talk to Anyariel. You went down underneath the
avatar.
Yeah, it was a Gaily. It was sort of a guardian of Anyariel. Anyariel is deceased, but the Gaily was like, "Who are you guys, and what do you guys know?" He was guarding the thing, because remember you went down into below the Elven Visions was a shrine to Anyariel, but before you got to the shrine, underneath there, a couple of undead creatures had sort of been eating the members of the village. You think that that the undead were also members of the village, and that they had sort of been cursed or something. But yeah, what the person you talked to was a Gaily, which is a sort of Fey avatar, but it was not Anyariel.
I have a note that the last foe was a giant stag pinned to the bottom of a lake to trap it. Is he the one that told us that?
Yes.
Okay. So Anyariel did that though, right? She trapped the giant stag?
Yes. With her own sword.
And the sword is still there.
Well,
Right?
well, Guinevera, as you guys were coming over here to the thing from Guinevera's hideout, her lair, you guys were coming over here, and she got visibly annoyed when you guys passed over a certain place in the lake, which again is about which Arendar you would recognize. You think it was right around the same place where you saw the steam coming out, and you heard her like mention something sort of sotto voce, potentially to herself, that saying, what a waste. It was that weapon was never meant to do this job. And, cursing Tamber under her breath. But I don't know that you guys ever asked Guinevera questions about it.
No, we didn't have time. We thought we had time to talk to her, and then Fool killed her. So
I still don't feel like we have enough info. We need to see Tamber before.
we definitely need to see Tamber before we figure out what's going on.
Get her side of this thing.
Well, the singing goes on for a couple of hours in earnest, and before the end, almost every Fae is involved at some point in the singing. They're all gathered around that tower. They're all singing. Papovin in the middle of them, singing as long and loud as Tiljan herself. And you guys are just sort of standing around thinking, "What have we done?"
So, am I the only one that thinks that a third of them or a quarter of them or 3/4 of them should stop so they can keep doing this 24/7 and not all of them do it for a couple hours and be done?
Well, they do. So yeah, eventually after about an hour or so, because they're sort of rejoicing, right? They've been reaffirmed that, Vul, the creature that was Vul, is dead. Everyone, because remember, Vul was sort of taking up the argument that the singing should stop. You're not 100% now, knowing what Vul was, you're not 100% sure why he was so interested in doing that. But it did seem to align when you spoke with Indomitable. Indomitable basically said, "Look, stop the singing and I will be released, and thus you will get my blessing, my boon."
I wonder, we stopped the singing for 10 seconds.
Yeah, we did our job. We had him stop for 10 seconds.
Yeah. And a column of steam began coming out of the surface of the lake.
No, in that 10 seconds, our job was done.
Yeah, I'm sure that your lawyers and Indomitable lawyers will come to a satisfactory conclusion about that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Because fire creatures are known to, be the letter of the law kind of guys.
We're still sticking to that.
Damn rules lawyers.
I mean, your guess is if the stopping of the singing began to release Indomitable, the starting of this, it wasn't long enough for him to be completely released. And it may be that, I mean, you're starting to put sort of like the puzzle pieces together, right? So Guinevera, before she's killed, talks about how that weapon should never have been put to this purpose. She also had mentioned at some previous point that she was aggravated that it was something was skewered in the lake and not a purpose for which it was designed. And she mentioned something sort of about having pierced the beast. Now, you're not sure, but it sounds like that there's a two-part trap in play here for Indomitable. Maybe the singing certainly is part of it, but also potentially the sword of Anyariel, which may be pinning Indomitable to something in the lake.
Right.
So it might be a two-part thing, and stopping the singing might not be enough to release him totally. It could be that
yet we want him released. So
you sort of promised that you would do that,
and so we did. Oh, released.
Hang on.
The singing.
Let me look at this alignment. Chaotic good. Yeah, I think I'm good.
Well, but there are other creatures. I mean, Kazakh wants him released too. I mean, you guys sort of have you guys have kind of arrangement with him. You're making him copies eventually of documents that you're taking to Sequin, but
neither one of these creatures are ones that we would willingly do. We're kind of stuck doing business with these guys. It's not that we chose to or would like to do this.
Hey, I have to send my taxes to the IRS. I don't like it either, but there's consequences if I don't.
So they claim.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
not for several years. So
I don't know how you compare the IRS to some fire demon. The IRS is way more scary.
I got to be honest with you. Comparing an IRS to a demon of fire was really not that much of a stretch for me. So I don't know. Maybe, I mean, it's possible. So I don't know. What do you guys want to do? I mean, so after a couple hours, sort of Fae start breaking off from the song. And again, it sort of revolves around a core of 4 to 6 Fae that stay up in the tower or near the tower. And they keep singing while the rest of them sort of disperse around. They, a lot of them come over and say, especially those that you saw the first time with Voon who attacked you and stuff like that. They come over and apologize, and they're saying, we will never draw weapons against you again. You have our solemn oath as Faes, which, probably doesn't go that far, but you know what I mean. They also start cooking dinner, and there's after dinner starts getting going. I mean, it's a constant stream of Faes bringing you plates of food and bread that they are cooking by magic and stuff like that. So they're really chastened. Most of the normal Fae are sort of chastened by the fact that they didn't believe you. Papavin is the opposite. He seems almost ecstatic. And he hangs around you guys, and he's like, tell us, in large part, when you guys sit down to eat, he's like, tell me where you came from. I want to know everything about you. Why did Anyariel pick you guys? And I don't know how much you share with him, but he was like, how did you come into Anyariel's service? And all that kind of thing. It's it's so odd for non-Fae to be, frankly, here in this village, let alone sent here by his patron saint. He does say that he will pray this evening in hopes that Anyariel will send to him the location of Tamber's home. But in the meantime, he does know the direction and sort of a general distance if you want to head out that way. Although he says, I am sure that with you here, Anyariel will send me the information. I will have it for you in the morning.
Okay. That's our next step. So, although, obviously the water chick that came over with us,
Guinevera.
Yeah. I want to go check out and see what she had in her place.
All right. So you guys are going to grab some canoes and head back over there?
Yeah, what time is it, Les?
It's probably mid to late afternoon. You guys could. It's not super far to her house,
Right.
so you guys could probably get there and back in a little while.
I meant to send you an email, or I thought I did, that Wraith and I were gonna go do that real quick while everybody regroups.
Okay.
But
We
yeah.
got a couple other magical items that we gotta figure out what they are too.
All right. Well, so did you guys? So you will have almost certainly you will have time before going to Tamber's to do a variety of things. So, Arendar and Wraith, you guys are planning on going to. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, sorry about that. So you guys are planning on going to Guinevera's place to go see what she was up to, and maybe cop a few, cop whatever treasure she had socked away there.
Right.
Is that accurate?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. What about the rest of you? Are going to let them get all the treasure, or? I'm sorry. Did I say that out loud? Not all the treasure. I'm sure they'll share it.
We share, doesn't matter.
Vandam trusts you.
What's that?
I trust you.
I don't know where my token is.
You've got
Were you
bigger
here
ones.
last time?
I'm not sure. Some of this is not sounding familiar. I think
Okay.
I remember parts of it. It feels like it's been a long time. When did we last play? February?
2 months ago. Yeah, February 13th.
What do we need? Identify
Oh
spells?
yeah, I had family over for the supper bowl.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. It was Super Bowl Sunday, wasn't it?
Yep.
I gotcha. All right. Well, you found yourself right in the middle of the pile of goo.
Oh. Okay.
What do we need? Identify to identify magic items? A spell?
You can do it as a ritual, and it'll work. It'll work easily. Just as easily.
I don't know if Vandam can do it. Like, I don't have the spell. I don't have it as a. I don't really pay many mages.
It's spellcraft, isn't it? To identify.
Is it
Yeah,
spell-
you can do it
oh,
with
it's-
spellcraft as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I can start trying to identify then what.
All right. Do you guys have a list of what you've acquired?
Yeah, I got, there's a couple things that we never identified. Let's see here.
Do you want me to roll first or roll as we go?
There's a necklace with faint divination made of ivory carved as leaves, and there's a wand made of iron with evocation.
Okay. I'm gonna have to find those for just one moment.
Yeah, they're pretty recent. Less so you shouldn't have to go too far back.
That's what I'm thinking.
Might even be from when we it's the same time we found like an elvish horn and silver lyre with bent wire and a book of elvish songs.
Ah, it would be back at the village. The burnt village.
Yeah.
All right, let me see here. Ah, gotcha. All right, for the necklace.
Roll for the necklace is
Ooh, that's a really good one. Okay, so the necklace is made of ivory leaves and it's worth about 25 gold pieces. It radiates faint divination while you are wearing the necklace. The wearer can understand and speak Sylvan, but while wearing the necklace, they can understand and speak only Sylvan. They do not understand or speak other languages while wearing the necklace.
that's interesting.
That's the reason it's only worth 25 gold.
Yeah. I think it's worth more than that. Personally, that's pretty damn cool. I'd like that for several languages.
And the iron wand, do you want to go ahead and do that?
Sure. Oh,
That's another whopper. All right, so this is Iron Wand of Ray of Frost with 29 charges on it.
Vandram thinks that's even more cool, but
Mhm.
What was the first thing she identified? I'm sorry.
the
was
ability
a-
to speak Sylvan.
It was a necklace
Yeah,
of
that's-
ivory leaves that when you put it on, you can speak and understand Sylvan, but only speak and understand Sylvan. You lose the memory of all the other languages that you know.
But if you take it off, you gain them back, right?
Yeah.
You assume. You're hoping anyway.
Yeah, it almost
So-
sounds like a cursed item.
So that was the ivory necklace divination, then the iron wand of invocation. Okay.
Evocation. Yeah, it was a ray of frost.
So Vondi gets the Ray of Frost. Nobody else cares about that, right?
Not really my thing.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Vondi's so excited.
Wait, I like spells too.
Do you? Okay.
Well, hold it to the side. Definitely, you can carry it. You carry it.
I'm your Swiss Army wizard.
Swiss Army was.
Yeah, you've got a lot of crap though, Titus, and Vondi hasn't gotten anything in a while.
Oh, okay. Well, then give
You've
it to
got a
Andy.
wand of charm person and dispel magic scroll, hold person scroll, suggestion scroll.
Okay.
So give them.
Okay, yeah, I remember that spreadsheet with stuff. Okay.
Awesome.
Vondi will use that. She likes.
How many? 25 charges?
29.
9.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, that's a solid wand there.
I'm sorry, what's the official name?
Ray of Frost. Wand of Ray of Frost.
Ray of Frost. Oh, this is like Christmas. Christmas here.
Sure.
Andrew, does Titus speak Sylvan already?
I think so. I'm trying to find where languages are listed on the one sheet.
They're on the back page.
Bottom of the back page.
Bottom of the back page. Okay.
Left side down below.
Gotcha. Yeah, I speak Common, Celestial, Draconic, and Sylvan.
Okay. Does anybody not speak Sylvan that would like to speak Sylvan?
Bondi's checking. He's fingering his.
Poe, you
chin.
already speak Sylvan, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was raised Sylvan. Yeah.
That's one of the few that Vondi does not speak.
You want to take that too?
I don't know. He's pretty manly to wear such a delicately carved ivory leaf embossed necklace. But yes, I'll certainly hold on to it. I'm a bit of a language geek. Wow, I'm practically like skipping everywhere I go now.
All right. Anything else you guys want to check out or?
Yeah,
Those
there
are
was
the only
a,
things I know of that we had, man.
there was a necklace with a blue jewel in it.
Okay.
Okay. Is that what you guys just found or?
Well, no, this is stuff that's on my list that we were just waiting to do. Light crossbow, short sword,
Ooh, only got 13 on that one.
necklace with a blue jewel, elvish horn, silver lyre, book of songs,
Okay, hold on.
and then the ivory necklace and the wand, which you've already done.
So it's probably from the same place. Hold on.
Yeah,
Or
probably.
did.
Yeah, I missed that somehow.
Porter, what was it? You could speak Sylvan for 20 minutes, but nothing else?
No, it didn't have a limit. It's just you could understand and
As-
speak Sylvan.
As long as you're wearing it, yeah.
Okay.
You just lose the ability to speak anything else while you're wearing it.
I could just say, I can't hear you.
All right. The horn and there was a lyre with some bent
Mhm.
strings. Both of those are a little scorched and kind of like a little worse for wear. But your guess is they don't radiate magic. Your guess is though that they are with a little repair are masterwork, and you can tell that they are made of silver and brass inlays and things like that. Probably you can get a decent price in any place where they would have bards or elves or something like that. The book, which is wrapped in like a thick blanket, just is a compendium of what look to you Sylvan or Elvish songs of a variety of types. It's all written in Sylvan and is probably worth in the right hands to a collector 50 gold pieces maybe.
Bonnie's got a praise too. I'll try and appraise.
The horn and the lyre.
Yeah.
Silver appointments, brass. It needs to be repaired. Repairs. Oh, natural 20. What is the natural 20 for?
Anything we don't understand?
Okay.
Is that a praise or?
No, that was a spellcraft. That was
A
just
spellcraft. Okay. So we'll get it in a minute. So so your guess is that it'll probably cost you between 5 and 15 gold pieces to get these repaired, but doing so and getting them polished up, your guess is that each of them is probably worth between 80 and 100 gold pieces to the right buyer. So for an investment of 15, you could probably get as much as 200 back out.
Okay.
The book of Elvish songs, probably 50. There was a second book, right, Chuck?
Holy symbol map, carved wooden figurines. There was a notebook from the cleric, but we already figured that out, that was just like his diary, basically.
Okay.
And then there was a parchment letter, which was a last testament, and a mace. So
Okay.
the things we have still: light crossbow, short sword, necklace with a blue jewel, and a mace.
Okay.
How about the necklace with the blue jewel? Can we use the 20 on that?
Sure, if I can find it. Hold on.
Pretty sure it was a +5 Holy Avenger.
Holy Avenger necklace.
I
Well,
had $1 for every time you thought we found one of those.
it's the
we-
default, one of the most expensive magic.
Yeah,
items.
we never find one of those.
We'll never find one, but
If we do, we know Les is like close to retirement.
right.
Or really, really
no.
drunk.
Les will give it to us like the last night that we're playing this game. He'll give
Yeah.
us one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the other thing is we don't have a paladin, so it's completely useless to most of us.
No, it makes it a +2 longsword. is what it
Yeah,
is.
so he could give it to us and it's useless. It's wasted.
Nope, that's true. You guys don't have a paladin.
So it'd be a +2 longsword.
You guys see there's a thing called a necklace of fireballs?
Yes.
How cool
Too
is
bad
that?
it's like
11 billion gold. Yeah.
well, no, it's a usable item. So once you use it several times, it's gone.
Oh, but
Now, if that was
Just
a
wear
recurring
it.
thing or something you could do that with, that would be impressive.
Rondi's wondering if he might be able to trade in his necklace of Sylvan Speak for a necklace of fireballs.
I'm guessing that we're going to
Not
end
even
up with a
close.
lot of collateral damage if Fondi can throw fireballs at you.
What's the old phrase? I didn't ask how big the room was. I said I cast fire.
Yes.
All right. So the necklace with the blue gem radiates moderate divination magic, and the natural 20 tells you that it is some variation of a Feychild necklace. So a
What's that?
Feychild necklace gives you +1, or +2 bonuses to charisma checks when you interact with Fey.
Oh. Who's our Fey front man? We have a Fey front man. Isn't that
Yeah,
you,
that's-
Fo?
That's me, yeah.
So
Sort of. I mean, I'm a dwarf, but
It
I
also
interact with the Fae, but I do it a different way.
It also gives the wearer low light vision and the ability to speak with animals once per day.
Pretty cool little necklace.
The problem is when you put it on, your face begins and body begins to take on some Fey characteristics. You don't turn into a Fey, but it's because of the blue gem. It's more for an aquatic Fey. Your guess is that this was at one point either Guinevera's or was somebody known to hers, and you could see that it changes your face and visage to something more like a merfolk. Now you don't become a merfolk. You just sort of take on a few guys. Your skin gets a little blue. Your ears get a little flat. If you don't have hair, your hair may sort of curl up into sort of almost a fin-like projection on your head. But it's not. You don't become a merman or anything like that, or a merfolk. You just look a little aquatic.
Do you have more of these? Or I don't know whether it's spell checks or if you're casting spells, or do we need to hold off on the other stuff we got?
it's
I'm
just
doing
stuff
skill checks. Wait,
Okay.
I'm doing skill checks. Do you have more that's magical? Here's another one.
Well, I think
What's
I've-
next? The mace?
light crossbow, short sword, carved wood figurines, and a mace.
The carved wooden figurines are not magical. They are worth to a craftsman probably 40 gold pieces.
There's a 28 for the first thing he had. What was the crossbow? The first thing you listed, crossbow?
Yeah, I don't know why some of these things that got listed, it's been months, but I don't know why some of these things got put on the magic item side instead of the mundane item side. Sorry about that. But yeah, light crossbow, short sword, and mace.
27, 28 on the light crossbow.
20 on the light crossbow. It is a light crossbow +1.
And
wait, I'm not done. And on the saying of a command word, which you now know, because it was engraved on the bottom of the crossbow, once per day, one of the bolts will burst into light and deals an extra D6 worth of radiant damage. It also functions as a light spell when it hits, which will last for 10 minutes.
Okay,
next.
short sword.
Short sword, just +1. No special powers.
And
But-
mace.
That might be different. That was the village leader's mace, wasn't it? Yes, hold on a second. This is called Burisrava's mace. It is simply made, but it is a +1 heavy mace that bypasses damage reduction as if it were good aligned.
That's sweet.
A person carrying the mace gains a special benefit when using heal skill to treat injuries. After spending 1 minute tending a creature, the mace's bearer makes a DC 15 heal check. The patient heals an amount of damage equal to its hit dice. So if you're level 3, the wielder of the mace makes a DC 15 heal check, you get 3 hit points back.
That's nice. That's a nice little mace.
And it's called Burisrava's mace. Burisrava. Burisrava's.
Phone gets that one.
BHUR what now?
Burisrava is the name of the guy. So it's Burisrava's mace.
Okay.
So it's +1. Yeah, Poe can take that for.
Yeah,
plus-
you can take that.
+1 heavy mace. Good aligned for purposes of damage reduction, and once per day per creature. If you spend 1 minute and do a DC 15 heal check, they will get as many hit points as their hit dice back. Oh, I'm sorry, as to the hit points of the person doing it. So, what level are you, Poe?
4. We're 4 right now.
4th level. So they would get 4 hit points back. It does not stack with any other healing spells. So if you can do healing spells yourself, you can't cast a heal spell and say, okay, I add 4 because of the mace. That doesn't stack like that. It's mostly frankly, it's symbolic. It's, sort of healing people who are with minor injuries.
Okay,
But
so
it does give people the ability who wouldn't otherwise be able to heal.
you're taking the mace?
Yeah, I'll take. Does anybody else have heal or where they could use it? I mean, I'd probably just as soon do a cure or a burst
I have
before I use
heal.
it. But
I mean, I got 2 points in heal.
I do not. Can I use a mace?
If you don't have heal,
Not as a
yeah,
wizard, no.
I mean, the other thing is it's good to have a blunt weapon around once in a while for people that are martial. I mean, that's one thing about Poe is he does do fighting too. So, but
Right, so Poe's got that, I can delete it. And Vondi has the wand, so I can delete that. And Vondi has the necklace of Sylvan Speak. Yeah,
yep.
so I can delete that. The Fey Child necklace, on everybody's screen.
Wouldn't that be you, Poe? Wouldn't that be a?
I mean,
martial-
yeah, I don't know that I want to turn into a aquatic fey look though. I mean, I don't know that it's.
You don't want to be a dwarf with a spiky hair fin?
Yeah, I mean, I've already
Can we
got
gift it to somebody here and make a friend?
You would make a pretty big friend if you did that.
So they all kind of worship us right now, so.
Remember, maybe there's
Yeah.
one, hold on to it.
Well-
There might be one particular person that would really
I
use
still want to kill them all.
it.
You know what we can do is we can use it to barter with the crazy good person we're going to visit. What's her name?
Amber?
Fire,
Yeah,
is she a fire
camera.
check? She's a fire check, right?
Oh, was she? She's a Fae though, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's a, yeah.
Well, she might not like it, but
Well, she'll know how to use it though. To her advantage, I mean.
yeah. Speaking with animals once a day wouldn't be a bad thing to hang on to either.
There was one other thing that was. It was the
You get low
second,
light, you get low light.
oh, low
vision.
light. Yeah, if you don't have that, that's a nice thing.
Yeah, +2 charisma when dealing with Fae, low light vision, speak with animals once a day, but you start to look like an aquatic Fae.
When you say it that way, I don't want it.
Well, and Poe, give me a knowledge Fey check or something like that. Do you have anything that
There's
represents?
no such skill as knowledge Fae.
um,
Yeah, it's,
something from your background,
knowledge, nature. would be-
knowledge, nature. Give me a quick check on that. 14. You're cautious about the necklace. Your worry is because of many things that Fae are chaotic and sometimes have unintended consequences. And the fact that it changes the appearance of the wearer, you worry that at some point that might become permanent or accelerate to
Yeah.
some sort of permanent thing.
Yeah, I remember also, Les, I've got that Voices of Solid Things thing I took that
Mhm.
I was raised in the witch market, so I listen to the whispers of items as though they are alive and they give me clues to their function.
Mhm.
could be-
This, if you do that, do you do that to this thing?
Sure.
This necklace is a aquatic Fey make. You get the impression, I mean, you don't get a lot of details, but you get the impression that the creature that made this was definitely aquatic, but also the vibe you get off of it was that creature was incredibly lonely and had sent this thing out into the world to bring something back to him, bring perhaps a mate or a friend or something back to him. So you're even more of the mind that the wearer of this necklace might at some point, depending on how long they wear it, become some sort of aquatic creature. Perhaps merfolk, perhaps something else. Definitely Fae though, but you know as well as anybody that there are good Fae and there are not quite so good Fae. Hold on a second.
And Andrew, does your character, I'm pretty sure they can use a light crossbow. Do you have one?
I'm
I'm pretty sure wizards can use those.
trying to
Yeah,
remember, it's
yeah, they
been
can.
so long, I'm thinking I might.
Well, I'm pretty sure you can use one. So whether you have one or not, this one is +1 and with a command word, it'll do an extra D6 radiance damage and act as a light spell for 10 minutes. So that sounds like something you should probably take advantage of.
Yeah, definitely, and I do have a light crossbow, so,
So write down that you have that.
all right, gosh darn it. I've been so used to using a one sheet, but now my Excel needs to be renewed, so I can't put anything into it. What's the,
It's a light crossbow +1.
light crossbow +1?
Once a day, you can cause a bolt to burst into light and deal an extra D6 radiance damage and act like a light spell for 10 minutes.
Okay,
And that light spell action works if it's a hit or a miss.
oh, okay. And how long
So-
is the light spell? 10 minutes?
10 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you. That sounds great.
There you go. And I can get rid of that one.
All right. Are Alan, Arendar and Wraith, are you the only ones going over to check out Guinevere's hideout? Guinevere's hideout?
I'm fine with that. I'm also fine with other people going. It doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. It's just, I think that the idea was while people were doing like the important speak with the leaders type of stuff, we're not helpful in that. So we were gonna wander off and do something useful,
Like loot.
like loot.
And if someone wasn't okay with it, they could stay here and visit. But yeah, we're not against anyone coming with us. Just
Bondrum's not gonna go because he doesn't trust you. He's just gonna go because it sounds more interesting.
All right, so Arendar, Wraith, Vondrum, anybody else going, or the rest of you staying back at the Sela camp to enjoy some Sela stew with the Sela?
Am I worth taking along? Am I needed?
Hey, we could all go.
we can all go if you want.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I just didn't know if anyone would have an issue with this, and if so, then Wraith and I were gonna go regardless.
And
It's
there's
so
noth-
weird not having Don with us.
There's
You know,
nothing sneaky going on, just
I don't know,
Yeah.
a couple of rogues heading over to loot a phase underwater house. That's
just some parallel processing.
All right, so everybody goes over there.
Sure.
All right. So you guys make your way in the afternoon sun, and you can still, as you cross the lake, you see in the distance that the flames continue to burn the flaming forest, and the great smoke billows up, ashing all over the place. They reach over into the water, and you can feel the water is still quite warm, from all the fire and things that are going on around you. You guys again approach the little island, where you can see through the problems associated with this particular map, the underwater tunnel that leads into the underneath the island. But you also see that there is a cave entrance, also partially underwater, over off to the left. You're not sure which of these, or maybe both, were the lair of Guinevera. When you first
Where
saw
did she come from?
Guinevera, she materialized in the water about here. So not super helpful.
So halfway between both of them. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
nice.
I'll just try the first one.
So you mean the top one?
Yeah, whichever.
Okay. So you've got canoes, but you have to sort of dismount them. And to get into this thing, the water here is not massively deep, probably 4 to 5 feet. And Arendar, you and Wraith, can easily see this sort of underground tunnel, but it is underwater. What you don't know is whether or not there are underwater traps, or whether there's any air inside that thing.
So I'm just gonna go in for a round or two, and if I don't find air within a round or two, then I'm coming back out.
What are you gonna do for light?
Got dark vision, so
Oh, you do you?
All right.
I think you can hold. I'm trying to think.
Yeah, so whoever has the
And-
biggest con.
In this game, you can hold your breath for some stupid long amount of time.
It's a long time, yeah.
Based on constitution.
Any character can hold their breath for a number of rounds equal to twice their con. So 6 seconds times, what's your con?
Mine's only 12, but that's
12
still-
times 24 times 6.
Is it your con or your con bonus?
Con score says
Ooh.
right here.
Okay. Well, I have a higher con if you want me to try to do it.
Okay, I'll let you do it.
The problem is what that does is it starts sort of a countdown. It goes on to say if a character takes a standard or a full round action, which means does something other than move,
Right.
the remaining duration that the character can hold their breath is reduced by run round. So if you end up fighting or searching, anything but moving,
It can go down faster.
it goes down faster, right?
Right. So
After-
my intention is to swim into it at what I calculate to be about half of my ability to hold my breath. If I encounter anything, I'm just going to come back or try to get away, basically. So I'm not doing any fighting or any of the rest of it.
And if you don't come back within about 6 or 7 rounds, I'm coming after you. So
Right. But at 14, and I don't like math that much. So my con's 14. I can hold my breath for that long.
28 rounds is your countdown.
So I'll go in for maybe 12 and see if it dips up or if there's any cavern or something that also has oxygen?
All right. Anybody gonna go with him? Help him out?
I will go if he doesn't come back within 6 rounds.
All right. All right.
Know that.
All right.
Hmm.
Wraith, you get a couple of big breaths and say, see you in a minute, and dive under the water and begin moving forward into the,
That's not me.
I didn't move.
That's,
No, I moved me up
Oh.
close because I'm getting ready.
okay.
All right. So you swim under there. Give me a perception check.
28.
All right. Can you see?
I can.
Okay. 28, you look around and using your dark vision, obviously your vision is obscured, right? Dark vision is not perfect.
Yeah.
You look around and generally speaking, the first thing you notice is that you're pretty sure the entirety of this cave is underwater. The second thing you notice is that off in the back of the cave, over in this area right here, you see something. Well, it looks like it might be sort of, it looks like there's roots coming down out of the ceiling, and that they're trimmed. I mean, you could sort of see it because they look like they're trimmed in certain ways, and there's something, it's hard to see from where you are right now. There's something trapped behind these roots. The roots are almost sort of like coming out, and it looks like some stuff is stuck behind it, and sort of just wedged back there. There is also a lot of like gook floating around that area in the water around it, which also obscures your vision. You can't really see what the stuff is behind the roots.
So they're like, what are those? What's that stuff in Florida?
Mangroves?
Yeah, they're like mangrove roots.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Well, then I'm sorry, go ahead.
They kind of look like they have been sort of pulled apart and trimmed a little bit, so they sort of form almost sort of like a little cage.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Eric and Tamar. How are you doing, sweetheart? Oh, sorry. Just getting some sleep.
So what's the swim movement?
It's half your normal movement speed.
Okay, so 15.
Yeah, it's not a big cavern. You can see the other sides of it pretty easily with dark vision.
So yeah, I'm gonna move to here, but I'm
Okay.
gonna go up. So,
So
basically testing the idea that water is 100% filled in this cavern and that there's no breathable air above.
There isn't. It is 100% filled in here.
Okay, so I don't see anything else.
No, the area where the roots are coming down, I've outlined with the little green mark there.
Right.
So that would be your second round.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go over there, and yeah, it's definitely completely submerged.
Okay. So I have what, 6 rounds, right?
Before your brother comes in, yeah. Well, so you have
You got 6 before I come in. You got 12 before you said you were going to start to head back.
right.
Right, but I don't.
You don't
there's no-
feel you don't feel like you're drowning yet.
Well, yeah. So looking around in this orange stuff,
Yeah,
Like
that's on
kelp-
top of the hill. That's not inside.
right? But is that like kelp bed stuff?
No, it's more like the flaming trees, because so there's still flaming trees and stuff here. So those are on top of the mound. They're not underneath. They're not where you are.
Oh, okay. So there's nothing in here that I can see yet that looks like a place where this water creature would have actually laired.
No, not really. You're not sure what's going on behind those mangrove roots, but there's nothing in here that looks like makes it look anything other than a hole under the island that's submerged in water.
Okay, so for the third one, I'll go over here.
All right,
I
you're gonna
can
swim over
try
there. You
yeah,
sort
so
of
I can-
get through there. Give me a quick perception check.
27.
Nice. All right. So you're holding your breath and you kind of have to, like, it's hard to see because there's like I said, there's particulates in the water and pieces of stuff, and you're not sure what it is, but you do manage to get closer and you actually grab onto the mangroves and kind of look around in there. And it takes you a second for your dark vision to sort of like recombobulate when you're looking at it. But then once you do, you sort of take a look back. It looks like the body that the area between the wall and the mangroves has been stuffed with what look to be the bodies of animals. One of them in particular looks like a deer of some kind. You can see smaller animals, which may be squirrels or raccoons. They're all in pretty significant states of decomposition because of the water. The particulates you realize that are around you are little bits of flesh and hair and things that are flaking off. And as you get closer, you can see little fish sort of like darting around in there, and they're like nibbling on it. It looks like, well, you hate to say it because Guinevera was seemingly more noble than this, but it looks like a water creature's refrigerator.
Yeah, this is her pantry.
Yeah. And the stuff is pretty rotted too. So if she's eating this, you're not entirely sure that's great from a creature standpoint.
She's part gator.
Maybe so. But yeah, it's basically the thing. And you can easily see that these roots have been sort of teased and trimmed into position to make this thing. Yeah, she basically crafted an underwater larder.
Right.
And it's full of creatures. Not a lot of fish, mostly land creatures that you can see. At least they got 4 legs, which most water creatures do not have.
Well, in the next round, I'm going to move 15 feet back towards the entrance.
Okay. Arendar, you are just about ready to jump in there. You're thinking, and it's like with anything, when he's underwater, you're just like, man, it feels like an eternity, even though it's only been like 30 seconds. Wraith, you come swimming out of there?
Yeah, the next one I'll come.
All right, you come pooching out of there, and suddenly Arendar, you're about the time where like, that's it, I'm going in. His head pops up out of the water. He takes a deep breath and then says,
"There's not really anything in there but a bunch of yick."
Okay,
it's good enough for me.
And I'll explain that there appears to be some sort of food storage set up in the roots with a lot of dead animals that are rotting in the water, and I didn't notice anything worth investigating.
Okay. I just thought since she wanted gifts from us,
Right, but I will
there
say
might be other gifts or something in
yeah,
there.
I will say this doesn't look like where she lived.
Oh, okay.
I didn't see any place that looked like it would have been where any type of creature would have sort of lounged or rested up or whatever. This seems like a kitchen and nothing more.
Okay. We'll head to the other place.
okay. Anybody else want to go in? So this cave
down here.
you can actually, whoops, I'm on the wrong thing here. Hold on a second. You can actually see this cave. Now the entrance is partially submerged, but you can see that it goes, this particular hill is much bigger than this little island over here. And you can see, if you peer in, you can see that it goes, it comes out of the water pretty quickly. There's like a little pool of water about maybe 3, 4, 5 feet that goes in front of the cave mouth, and then the floor of the cave rises enough where you can see it comes out of the water. It's dry.
Oh, okay.
What about the rest of you? You guys wanting to go in here too, or are you just gonna let Wraith and Arendar take all the risks? Or I don't know. I feel like Ono needs to get in there and kick something in the head.
Boot to the head. Heck yeah.
I just feel like he's not happy unless he's laying a boot upside somebody's melon.
Well, my plan, if there had been a pocket of air in there, would have been to come back and get everybody. But like I said, keep the higher con people going in to check it out, and then if it looks like there's a place we can go investigate, then coming back and getting everybody.
Okay.
All right. Poe's moving forward. What's the plan?
Can I move my character in there if I'm going in?
Yeah, sure. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead.
I can't see in there, so that's why I'm asking.
Hold on a sec. Why is it not deleting like I told it to? There we go. All right, can you see now?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. All right, yeah. So as you peer in there, you can see
the line of the water.
Yeah, that line is where the water stops. So where Arendar is standing now, you're on dry land. And Wraith and Vondram and Ono, you can see that he's sort of clambered out of this water. He's still soaking wet and he's dripping. It's more mud than sand. It's not sandy.
Okay, I'm peeking around the corner. I got my sword and shield out.
Okay.
What are these things? I see 3 things.
You see things. Okay, the thing closest to you, often a little alcove in the mud over here, looks like a ratty kind of coarsely woven blanket. It's large-ish, I guess, but it's kind of crumpled up and sort of tucked into a little niche over there. That looks like, you know, it's been slept in, rolled around in, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of mud on it, and that kind of stuff. It's kind of gross. Far different is the other 2 things you see over here. So over here, you have a relatively clear view of this thing over here, which is a stone altar or some kind of maybe it looks, your first thing that you think of is altar, but maybe like a statue of something or a pedestal. And on top of it is a small box that looks like it's made of gold. And it is maybe 3 by 3. It's a small box. It's sitting on the top of this thing. So this is a sort of, I'm sorry. So this thing over here is sort of a multi-level pedestal or stone altar of some kind. And on top of it, on the pedestal part, is this little gold box. This, as you guys take a look around, you see the back of it, and there's more. It's just like more of a rack or anything. But the front of it, Arendar, as you look forward, is a large mirror facing the altar.
This one here.
No, that's the blanket.
I'm going to stop right here. And
this
ask
is the
some
mirror.
of the smart people if there's any magic coming from any of this stuff down here.
Spellcraft.
Be a detect magic thing.
Yeah,
I can detect magic.
I can detect magic. You know, that's a cantrip, Jennifer. You
It's a
should have.
cantrip, so yeah, if you've
Yeah, you
got
should be
it.
able to do it
I
too.
looked at it earlier and I did not see it.
That's a 0 level cantrip. You should have it. Everybody's got to have that for casting.
Most spellcasters have it.
You know what?
So-
I'm a different one though. I'm kind of a weird animal and it's not on my cantrip list. I'll go back and double check it, but
You
I
could
Do
probably
I
put it
need
on
to
there.
detect magic?
Yeah.
Okay, I do that.
All right, the first thing, Titus, that you look at is the blanket. It does not radiate magic. The stone platform, the stone altar, also does not radiate magic. The mirror radiates moderate to somewhat strong necromantic magic.
Okay.
Necromancy.
Oh, not this again.
Arendar's no dummy. All right, let's back up away from that.
Well, you bum rushed it, so I don't know that statement's 100% accurate.
Well, he didn't have enough information. Now he's got enough information.
Not
Okay.
all necromancy is bad.
Pretty much most of it. Maybe not all of it, but most of it, yeah.
Combine it with a mirror, it's definitely bad.
Yes. Do you want to? I guess that'd be a spellcraft or knowledge arcana to see if you can figure out what it does, or could that be something that like you could do like detect traps or something like that?
You could, I guess. That might work.
Oh, look, do that.
Evokers can't
like
do
detect
divination.
Traps. So, Poe, what is that? A
I'm just trying to
detect?
figure out
Is that a detect trap roll?
Yeah. And
Okay.
Also, I can do magical traps.
Well, I mean, yeah, you think it is some kind of magical trap. You're not 100% sure what kind, but it's the mirror. I mean, you're trying to puzzle it out. The mirror is pointed at the altar, which has the box on it. It radiates necromancy. Your guess is it smells to you like some sort of protective device
for the
designed
shrine?
to keep the shrine intact.
Okay.
One thing you do also note, Polearm, as you're doing this, is that the blanket is positioned in a place where a person laying or sitting on it could view both the altar and the mirror, although they wouldn't look directly into the mirror, but they can see both from that position.
Well, if it's a trap, is that, Wraith, you want to try?
Well, what I'm thinking, he saw nothing magic here, so I want to move to here and check the blanket for traps.
Okay,
Okay, give me a roll.
26.
So 26, you look around and you kind of move the blanket gingerly and then more forcefully. As far as you can tell, this is an ordinary kind of somewhat gross blanket. There's no traps underneath it. You look around, you can actually pick it up, fold it, bundle it up, move it around. Nothing happens.
Well, I don't want to move it from its place. So now I want to move onto the blanket
Okay.
and position myself. Wait a minute. Is it alt or control?
Hold on. I got to put the blanket in the back. There you go.
No, that's fine. I was just trying to center myself. So
Alt.
I'm gonna position myself as if I were a creature sort of lounging on the blanket, like
Okay.
you'd expect one to.
Sure.
And now I can see, as you said, both the altar and the mirror.
Right.
But I'm not looking directly in the mirror.
Right.
So if I look in the mirrored surface, what
s-
reflection do I see?
You see the reflection of the gold box in the mirror. That's where you're standing right now. Is you can see the gold box sitting on the altar, and you also see the reflection of the box in the mirror.
But I don't see a
Whatever.
reflection of the altar in the mirror.
No, the altar's there as well.
Okay.
so,
Whatever comes out of the box, it's too strong to look at directly, maybe.
so he's looking at this angle and he's not seeing this right here, but he's actually seeing something over here.
No, just the angle that he's at is the way the mirror is pitched is that where he's sitting right now, he can easily see in the mirror the box on top of the altar.
Yeah, the reflection of the altar.
Okay, so
And if he
it's not-
looks over this way, he can also see the box on top of the altar in reality. It forms like a weird sort of isosceles triangle here that allows him to view both at the same time.
Okay. I would have.
But the mirror seems to reflect everything around it too. So Wraith, if you were sort of like, you kind of cock your head around and that kind of stuff, you can see the ground pieces, the altar. It doesn't seem to be
Okay.
acting
It's not
like,
focusing on that.
yeah, the mirror is not pick and choosing what it's reflecting. It's just that the position that he's in, somebody laying there could see both boxes at the same time.
Right.
Okay.
And that's sort of my assumption as to why this blanket is here, or if this is where the aquatic fey creature we dealt with, if this is actually her lair, she would lay out and sleep on this, and she could see basically what I'm looking at now.
Correct.
So from where I'm looking, without getting any closer to it, looking at the pedestal or
Mhm.
thing with the mirror on it.
Right.
Is it stone? Is it something that looks pretty solid? Is it something that looks like it could be maneuvered to make the reflection of the mirror?
It's actually
Point in a different
stone,
direction?
and it's in the form of a woman holding the mirror. So the mirror is pretty big. It's about probably 4 feet high, another 2.5 to 3 feet wide, sort of oval shaped with a filigree border, and it's being held up by it's not a full size statue, but a sort of a smaller statue of what looks to be some sort of woman dressed in a shift, and she's standing there holding the mirror. That's the frame, but it looks like stone. There is a pivot on the bottom of it, but it looks like it hasn't been used for a long time.
Based on the magic user saying that there's necromantic magic in the mirror,
Oh yeah, there's definitely necromancy in there.
it would seem to me that going towards the gold box and becoming in full reflection or in full view of the mirror would probably be a bad idea.
I don't know enough about magic to tell you one way or the other.
But if you
That would
could
make
pivot,
sense to me.
if you could pivot the mirror so it didn't cast on the box, then maybe you could go check out the box, or maybe that's the bad part. I don't know.
Can we pivot the mirror to like face the wall to the south?
Like turn the mirror sort of like so the pivot itself, so the way it is, it's not like a spinning thing, but that spinning thing has corroded. Time has sort of like made it hard to move. You could get a couple of guys, you could probably just lift up the mirror and point it and put it back down again. It probably weighs 300 or 400 pounds, but you've got like 5 guys here. So
Wasn't the
I'm
story of
thinking-
Medusa that you could look at the Medusa heads with a mirror, but you couldn't look directly at it, or you'd be turned to stone?
correct. Theseus looked at the Medusa in his highly polished shield,
Mhm.
and that was how he was able to fight her or
Some
avoid the
things
power of her
are
gaze.
just too evil. Which is why Vandram is now standing back at the door. Ready to go
Screw you
when
guys.
anybody else is.
So
I can cast mending on it to heal the rotation ability of it. maybe.
Okay. Mending is a 10-minute spell. You want to waste that much time or take that much time, I should say? It's not a waste
I
if it
think if
works.
you don't want it makes sense to me that if it's
It's one action.
necromantic and it's facing this thing, if you get in view of it, that could be bad. So I say we just twist it so it's facing the wall to the south, and that way no one's it's not seeing, it's not facing anything.
Doesn't face anything.
right, but to Jen's point, if the mirror allows you to deal with the gold box without looking directly at it,
If there's a Medusa
I don't-
head in it.
if the gold box is something akin to a Medusa head, and you just go over and I'm gonna open the box, you're
Well,
toast.
we can see the box right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's
you
just
mean-
another.
you
It's
mean
closed, but
inside it.
Yeah, I mean, if you open
Okay.
the box.
so I will tell you that the box is quite small. It's only about 3 inches by 3 inches. It's about the size of about the size of a Rubik's cube. So whatever's in there, it's not a whole head.
Well, the Medusa heads aren't the only thing that can ruin your day. So,
True.
But
and it's probably not the only thing that can ruin your
to
day. if
detect
you look
magic,
directly
there
at
was
it.
no magic that came from the box though, right?
That's correct. But it could be that the box itself blocks out something magic inside.
I was gonna say the box is closed, so that might
Okay.
be
If
that
the
might
box
be
does that, then we definitely want that box.
yeah. just
Maybe not
trying
what's
to-
in it, but
Which we're trying to figure out how to get the box without dying horribly. That's the point.
I probably won't kill you. Just go get it.
And I-
yeah, famous last words.
And based on
Hey, y'all watch this.
based on the magic of I don't, again, Wraith puts arrows and stuff. That's all he does. So for the magic using people, if this is something that's kind of like dangerous like that, if I went up to the mirror and tried to manipulate the box using the mirror, is that in any way possible what the magic itself does? I don't know about magic types. So I could try to open the box from the reflection.
Well, but the
Andrew's
magic
just
came
standing
from the
at the
mirror
back.
itself.
Yeah, well,
Why do you wanna open the
Vandram has bailed.
Yeah.
I've got my arms crossed. I'm just, why do you want to open the box? Why do you want something that like radiates necromantic magic evil? What is your interest in it?
The box doesn't radiate
Hello, thief.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
God.
mirror radiates
It's the
necromancy.
mirror that does that. That's why I want to get the mirror turned away.
I want to take anything valuable and I always want to open boxes.
Mirror is the necromantic part.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, the box itself, as far as you can tell, doesn't radiate any magic at all.
So maybe the necromancy magic in the mirror makes whatever's in the box renders it helpless.
Does
Right.
disabled device, can't we just use disabled device?
Yeah. Can you? Yeah. If this isn't really a trap,
Well, he said it's a trap. We already rolled
then
that.
yeah, you can.
Well,
do
it's a trap of some kind. I mean, so Poe
so
would
Wraith
Poe
can
would do
a
that.
Disabled device on the mirror, because I would think that's where since the magic comes from there, I think the trap is the mirror. And I still think for an extra added safety, turning the mirror facing the wall to the south.
It's either a really good idea or a really bad idea.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly.
Can we vote on it or flip coins?
I say we roll some flipped coins.
Oh, boy. I'm chaotic too, so I'm just gonna stand by the door. I'm just letting y'all know that.
So where did what you looked at the statue in the mirror and that's where you determined there was a trap, Gordon?
Yeah, Poe believes there's a magical trap. Oh, sorry, Gordon. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was looking at the mirror because that's what I thought was.
Okay, so if
So
I
there's a
move,
magical trap on the mirror.
if I move this way so that I don't come into contact or I don't
You're
come
behind it,
directly
yeah.
in the reflection of the mirror.
Mhm.
If I try to do a
Disabled device.
not disabled device necessarily at this point, if I try to do a trap check, which is perception 27.
You
what do I
definitely
get?
believe that this is a trap of some kind, magical, related to the necromancy within the mirror. Disabling it, I mean, you feel like the turning it to the wall idea is a good idea, because it's definitely the mirror that's the trap. Something is about the mirror And well, to your mind, it's the mirror interacting with the box. Something about the relationship between those two items is where the trap is found. You think turning it from a disabled standpoint, you think turning it to the wall is probably is a good idea.
So the other question is, you said this mirror was what, 4 foot tall?
Yeah, it's off the ground. So, but it's about 2.5 by 3 feet wide and 4 foot tall. It's a big oval, and
How
it's being
big?
held by the stone woman in like her hands.
How big is the blanket?
Bigger than that. It's probably 6 by 8
So you said I could pick up the blanket.
easily.
So I'm gonna go pick up the blanket,
Just drape
Okay.
it over it.
staying out of the reflection of the mirror, obviously,
Okay.
and then move back to where I am in the mirror.
Okay.
And without putting any part of myself in front of the reflection, like from behind it, try to flip the blanket over it.
So it
that
covers it.
covers the entire thing.
Okay. Give me a quick dex check.
Oh. Like reflex save or just dex?
Just a
Roll and
dex
add
check.
the dex bonus.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Okay.
see if you get it over the top of it
Okay, hang on.
effectively. Ten. Yeah. Okay. So you have no real problem sort of taking this, and it's kind of gooky, so it's kind of like a little sloppy and it's a little moist, but you kind of just like flip it over the top, and yeah, it rolls down in front of the thing, and so it's hanging up, sort of vertically on the edge of the thing, and it does seem to be covering the entirety of the mirror. The mirror itself does not seem to react.
Okay. Now that that's there, I'm gonna figure out a way to secure it, even if it's have my brother come over and just hold the damn thing in place.
Yeah, I mean, you could kind of like wrap it around a little bit. It's the problem is you got to make it secure with the arms of the female statue. It's kind of hard. It's probably just easier to have Arendar hold it.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I'll
now-
hold it.
So
I'm
now
holding it
looking,
from behind though.
looking at the golden box, it
Okay.
hasn't done anything.
No, same.
Okay. So now that the mirror is covered up, now's a good time to die.
All right, so you go over there.
Well, hang on. The mirror, well, how big around is this thing?
About 8 feet for the base, and then there's a pillar inside that sort of forms up into sort of like a tulip shape almost, and it's flat on the top of that, and that's where the box is sitting.
Okay, so I have to get basically 5 foot closer to interact with it.
No, you can reach over and grab it probably.
Well, I want to reach over and check for traps.
Oh,
So
okay,
that's why-
yeah, that's fine.
If I need to get closer, I can check for traps where I'm and then step sort of inside the
Inside the little bowl
or,
area there.
or step on the side of the bowl or whatever to get
Yeah.
to where I can reach easily enough.
You could see, interestingly enough, that there is space behind it that doesn't seem to be used for anything. That it takes up it's almost like pushed it back as far as it will go. Perception for traps, so 28 for find traps. You don't see any obvious traps on here. There doesn't seem to be any mechanisms or glyphs or anything that are interacting with the box in any way.
Okay, so I grab the box and throw it to Ono. No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, no, I can, if Ono wants to take a look, he's welcome to.
Feel free, buddy.
I just check for traps.
I'd have the rest of you guys stand away from this thing just in case.
Arendar's like getting a little tired over here.
All right. What do I roll to check for traps?
Perception check.
Thank you. All right. Great.
28 natural 20. Yeah, Ono sort of joins you at the edge of the thing, and he's helping you look over, and you guys are like pointing and like, what do you think of that? That kind of stuff. But neither of you see anything about the altar / pillar, pillar or platform or the box itself that would indicate to you that you see any traps. It just looks like a stone altar or platform upon which somebody has placed a box. There doesn't seem to be anything notable about the altar. It's made of stone, and it looks like it's from somewhere else. The stone is decently carved. Somebody put some time and effort into making this, but at the same time, you definitely get the impression that it wasn't made here. Somebody made this, and then somebody brought it here and jammed it into this cave, which you guys think would be a pretty a pretty substantial amount of effort would have to be put in to do that because it's made of stone. It's probably 8 feet across. It's another 4 to 5 feet high. Probably weighs close to half a ton of stone. Getting it in here would have been a bitch cake, especially through that little hole through the water. Poe, what's that for? That natural one that
I'm searching for secret doors on the side while I'm waiting.
okay, don't see any.
So Arendar can lift 800 pounds.
Sure, why would you want to?
This is what the sheet tells me.
Oh, you're gonna want
Just
I
to
can
show
drag
off.
2,000 pounds.
so footprints. Yeah, you do see. Well, that's a different check. So that's not perception. That's a survival check to look for traps. Tracks. I'm sorry. You do see. I'll give you this. You do see a lot of marks. So this floor here is like mud. It's not stone or sand or anything. So you do see a lot of marks on the floor that would indicate something moving back and forth between the pillar, or I'm sorry, the altar and the blanket, and just generally around, and then a fair amount of stuff movement marks between the cave mouth and this place, but they're not feet. Flippers, maybe fins. In some places there are claw marks on the floor in the mud. No marks on the ceiling, as far as you can tell. But they're not footprints in the traditional sense of the word. Yeah, flippers or fins or something like that, and sometimes claws. Yeah. All right, Wraith, Ono, what's the plan? Wraith took off. There's no plan. Well, I think in the absence of Wraith, I believe Titus gets to tell you what the plan is.
See.
Oh, jeez.
Grab the box.
Okay, yeah, let's grab the box.
Who's doing the grabbing? All right, so the box is just sitting on a little pillar there, and Ono, you reach out with one hand and very gently you grab a hold of the box. It feels a little cold, a cold metal in your hand, and when you lift it up off of the pedestal, it seems heavier than its size would indicate. But then you're like, it does seem to be made of gold, so you gently bring it across to you, and you bring it in your hand, and now you have a gold box in your hand that's about the size of a Rubik's Cube. It has a little latch on the front, and is tooled, engraved, and it has a little sort of like nubbins on the very top that would form like sort of pull the lid back once you got rid of the latch.
Yes, there is a boulder running.
There does not seem to be a boulder of any kind.
I say we get out of here with that. This mirror is kind of freaking me out.
Finally.
Yeah, essentially, Ono, it is a small gold box latched with a little sort of protrusion on the top of the lid, which one might reasonably assume would be you would grab that to open the box sort of delicately.
Wraith is drooling. I start making offers for a delicious home cooked meal if he'll just back his ass out away from the gold box.
Andrum is talking about cooking.
Yes, but what's wrong with the gold box?
I say we get it. We got it. Nothing bad happened. This mirror's freaking me out. Let's get out of here.
Wait, who got the gold box?
Nobody, listen.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, dude.
Oh,
Ono
Ono's got
grabbed
the
it.
box?
Okay, but wait. Have
He
we
hasn't opened
the
it yet.
box?
It has a 2-inch Medusa head in it.
So you're gonna open the box right there?
No, let's leave.
Wait. No.
I'm not cooking nothing.
No, do
I
not
don't know,
open the box
I-
until we leave.
I heard food, so I'm heading towards Vondi.
Let's go.
Yeah. Let's
Oh,
get
no,
out
this
of
is-
here and then.
This is
Ono's got the thing, so
I say open the box right there.
Mhm.
And did you let go of the blanket?
As soon as Ono gets out from in front of it, then yes, I am.
Okay. Ono says he's not going to open the box. He's going to take out, and Arendar, you hold on to the blanket. All right. It sits there for a few minutes because of the weight of the mud. And then after about 5, 8 seconds, it does slide off onto the ground
Okay,
in front of the thing. The mirror doesn't do anything.
good. Let's leave. Before
All right.
it tries to do something.
Titus, that mirror could be worth something. Imagine a necromantic magical trap mirror. You could sell that in town for big bucks.
I think you have me confused with Dr. Wagner.
Okay. All right. So is you guys are just taking off then?
Yeah, we'll open the box when we get back, or I'll get back or something. I just don't want to do it in here with that mirror.
All right. So Ono, the approximate dimensions of our box are it's like about a 3 to 4 inch cube. It's about the size of a Rubik's Cube toy. But it's made of gold and it's surprisingly heavy in your hand, but that could be because of the metal involved. It does seem kind of heavy though.
Would he know what a Rubik's Cube is?
Oh, everybody knows what a Rubik's Cube is.
Okay.
When Rubik
The
gave
the Archmage Rubik.
when the Archmage Rubik provided the prime material plane with his cube, he went through all the other planes, delivering it to all the children of those planes so that they could be bedeviled and driven insane.
Nice.
All right, so you guys take off. You guys, when you get out, so you get outside, nothing happens. I mean, there's no rolling boulder, there's no massive explosion. You guys just sort of stumble back out into the water and sort of move back over to your canoes. Do you want to open the box out here in the water, or do you want to wait until you get back to the village? Or
No, I'm pestering Vondra about what she's going to make.
oh, yeah, I'm kind of interested myself. Vondra, what are you making for dinner?
Nothing with the gold box in tow. We got bigger fish to fry.
Oh, we're having a fish fry. That's cool.
That's sweet.
All right, so you guys successfully get back in your in the Sela canoes, and you begin paddling back to the Fey Village. When you get back there,
Okay, let's open the box once we get out of there. I just didn't want to open the box with the mirror.
yeah, I mean, you could open it in the water back in front of her house, in front of Guinevera's house, or you can wait till you get back to the village. Whatever you want to do.
I would wait to mess with it until we get back on solid ground. None of us are aquatic creatures to be fighting on the water. So
Okay, so you guys go back to the Fey Village with the
not
box
that
in
that's where I
hand.
want to go.
Not that that's where you want to go. And you get back there to the cheers of the people that are there. And they've cleaned up a lot of the mess. Although they are they are at the time, they have sort of cleaned up the goo mess that was left down there, and they poured sand over the top of it and tried to remove some of the tentacles and drag them away. They are building some sort of cairn for Guinevera. They've pulled her body out and they've put it down here at the edge of the water, and they're bringing stones and things to pile over her so that she would be close to the water. Food is cooking. Vondrum gets back there. You guys get here with no problem. There are about a half dozen of the Fae are continuing to sing. The rest of them have sort of dispersed, in various places across the thing, going about their business. You see that some of them are sort of even when they're not, sort of hanging out. You can see them sort of singing the song, even though they're not really lending their voice to the general effort. They're still sort of singing it. They seem quite pleased to learn that they have been doing the right thing for the last 30 years. And even Tilgen will tell you that it's been like a long time that they have been doing this song. But they're continuing to do it. Papavan actually greets you warmly when you come about. When you arrive in the at the little inlet in your canoes, he's like, "Welcome, chosen of Anyariel. Welcome back to the village. Food has been prepared. We have also made space for you in one of the larger caves, which you will have to yourself. You will as your permanent residence while you're with us."
We just had to get rid of some owl feathers.
Yeah, well, they've cleaned up a lot. I mean, there's still some blood, stains that they haven't necessarily gotten all taken care of, but they have done a fair amount of cleaning up. So you guys have been gone for probably an hour and a half or so, maybe a little longer. But as you return, you are welcomed warmly back by all of all of the Fae and said, you know, your quarters are ready, food is prepared. We've even dug out some of our homemade wine to share with you in celebration of all the things that have transpired. Although we have lost much with Guinevera and Vul, we have also gained much in the chosen of Anyariel. And so we celebrate your return. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box? I don't know if you guys wave that box around too much. I imagine Ono's being pretty casual about it.
No.
I'm gonna keep the gold box kind of secure and tucked away.
Okay.
He's got it strapped to his chest and is holding its head.
So we should, I mean, I'm curious about what's in the box. I hope it's not a tiny head. That would be gross.
That would be gross. So they tell you that this cave right here, right at the edge of the water, where you stayed before, is now officially your guys' cave. And I'm going to put a little X over the top that indicates your cave. It's spacious. It's dry. They've brought in additional like woven mats and coarse linen blankets and things like that to make you as comfortable as possible. They've also said, you know, it gets cold here. Well, no, it doesn't get cold here. So they're bringing
It gets cold in the fire forest.
It gets cold in the fire forest. It's chilly at night. But they've obviously taken care to arrange it to make it as comfortable for you as possible.
Lovely. Okay. Why don't we go in the cave and well, in privacy, let's see what's in the box.
All right. So you guys, is that what you guys do?
Sure.
I'll go. Here.
Yep.
You do. Right.
Okay. You guys go in the cave and you sort of like look around, and there's a woven mat against the door, which you sort of draw to. So the door is closed, and you fire up a couple of torches to make some natural light in here and bring those in with you. And you guys all sort of gather around, and Ono pulls out the box. You know, like I said, it's just a small box. He's kind of looking at it, and Ono, are you going to open it, or is somebody else going to open it, or? Okay.
I will.
So Ono, you take a thumb and you just sort of like boop and undo the latch. It comes off easily, and then you grab onto that little handle on the top and sort of peel the lid back, and it comes out. And it's actually, the lid and the bottom are about half and half. It's actually quite large. Inside the box, you can tell, once you open it up, you can see sort of the seams, and your guess is that this box is made of solid gold. It's about a 1/4 inch thick, the walls of the box. So the area inside is small. Plus the lid takes up about half of it. So the area where there's something in it is quite small. It's probably 1.5 inches deep and maybe 2 3/4 or 2.5 inches around. It's lined with what looks to be some sort of silk, and the top of the box has silk on it as well, and sort of like poofy in there. And laying in the bottom of the silk is a little coil wrapped together with a small piece of what looks like a blue silk ribbon, is a small coil of blonde hair.
Are you serious?
Blonde hair.
Blonde hair.
It's not red hair.
Is that
Chuck's like, blonde hair. It's a small coil, like a little cluster of hair.
is that magical?
It is. So you do detect magic on it, and it does radiate a little bit of divine magic.
We met any blondes?
Well, the phase hair comes in all different colors, so there are some blonde phase here. The only thing that you can think of is your recollection of the statue of Anyariel seemed like she had light colored hair. It was carved in such a way as that it seemed like her hair might have been light colored.
No.
And I believe somebody else said that she had light colored hair as well.
What was the wasn't there a relationship between Anyariel and the water chick?
Well, so so as far as you could tell, and some of the, you get bits and pieces of it, but basically what you think of is that Anyariel, Guinevera, and Tamber were all sort of friends slash sisters slash maybe lovers. You don't know. Something happened, and Anyariel was killed. At least that's what you think happened, and became sort of this patron saint of the region. And whatever it was that happened caused a major rift between Guinevera and Tamber, to the point that you haven't spoken to Tamber, but
Right.
Guinevera made no bones about the fact that she despised Tamber. And was like, when you guys informed her that Tamber had told the Fae of the Sela village that they had to keep singing, or that it was that would keep the fire, that they keep the fire forest at bay and all that, and that they ever stopped, they would all be immolated and killed. Guinevere was dismissive, and she's like, "That's probably all bullshit. Tamber is selfish and self-serving and lies. She's a liar." And it was very vituperative, very whatever it is between Guinevera and Tamber, they are not friends anymore. But I think it was Tilgen that told you that the legend was that Anyariel, Tamber, and Guinevera were essentially like the three amigos of the Fire Forest. And they took care of the creatures in the Fire Forest, and were basically the triumvirate, which were the lords of the local Fae, and they organized resistance, and they were friends to the elves, and all this, very, foresty shit. But something happened to Anyariel, which caused this, at least the way you guys have heard it, caused this rift between Tamber and Guinevere. But in the box is a coil of very fine blonde hair.
Burn it. I say burn it.
Okay.
If this is something,
Until we find the fire chick.
if this is something to do with Anyariel, maybe she's not dead. Doesn't necromantic magic also heal?
It's a good.
Not that I'm aware of.
Aren't healing spells necromancy?
I'm looking it up.
Me too.
I don't think so. They're
And I clicked on the skill because I'm an idiot.
Well,
Conjuration. According to this, not necromancy.
See it anywhere. If I went a different direction, I don't see it anywhere.
But hang on a sec.
Cure light wounds is
Actually, this is-
conjuration.
This is not me. This is a question to the magic types. Because let's see here. I believe I'll have to find it real quick.
do a spellcraft, Jennifer. Fun to
Yeah.
do spellcraft to try to figure out what the divination magic is on it.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
You're not sure the nature of this divination magic, nor does the 11, neither an 11 nor a 17. You guys are a bit stymied by this. You know it is of divine nature, but it doesn't necessarily have any magic powers of its own. Your guess that this hair belonged to a creature of prodigious divine magic powers, and what you're looking at has some sort of legacy powers, but it doesn't have any magic. It can't enact any magic spells or anything on its own. It just radiates a magic, a certain level of magic because it belonged to a creature of prodigious magic, divine magic.
So it's almost like it might give you pluses or something.
You don't think it gives you any bonuses or anything like that. It's just, it's more of.
It's definitely what's her name's hair then, if it comes from someone that powerful.
That seems to be the indication, but it doesn't lend the bearer any particular powers.
But why would it be in a gold box at an angle so that you could lay on the floor and look at the box through a mirror? That's kind of weird.
I don't know.
Do I have any idea what it is with the mediocre knowledge arcana?
Of the hair or the mirror? The hair?
Hair.
You can do a spellcraft too.
You can do a
Andrew.
spellcraft,
Yeah.
yeah. Or you roll a 15 knowledge arcana. As far as you can tell, it's just hair. Now you do know that for magical creatures and beasts, that if you cut the hair off them or separate a finger or something like that, it does retain some of the inherent magical nature of the creature. And your guess, because this is divine magic, which is out of your jurisdiction, but your guess is that this may be that. Vondram, what's that roll?
That's an arcana roll on the
An
mirror.
arcana roll. Thinking about the mirror?
Yeah.
Your guess is that since nothing happened when you guys got the box off of the thing when the mirror was covered, that something bad would happen if you got the box off the thing when the mirror was uncovered. Like if maybe the person doing something to the box was reflected in the mirror,
Or watching through the mirror.
or well, potentially if mirrors are strange from a magical standpoint. They do many things. Sometimes they project, sometimes they reflect, sometimes they are an eye through which people see. In this case, this mirror, your guess is that it was a box guardian, that some creature, if it touched the box and was reflected in the mirror while doing so, because remember the mirror was pointed directly at the box, that it would enact something. The mirror would then do something,
Got it.
but you don't
I
know
share
what.
that with everybody.
Yeah, ditto about the hair.
So yeah, as far as you know, the hair itself doesn't lend anything to, it doesn't identify or knowledge arcana. It's basically you're guessing that this is your guess is that this was the hair of a powerful divine creature that was removed or captured or collected and put in this box, and then a pretty significant necromantic trap was set up to keep anyone from taking the box away. And that Guinevera, because it had to have been Guinevera, that was her place, right? That was her place, had set it up so that she could observe the box both directly and through the mirror from where, if the blanket is any indication, where she slept.
Maybe it was a connection where she could actually talk with Anyariel somehow, like a divination of the dead.
It's possible. Your understanding is that Anyariel is gone away, not a physical presence anymore, a spiritual presence, killed. Well, that's what's in the box. So for the rest of the evening, you enjoy the largesse of the Sela village. They bring out some of their homemade wine, which at first is raw, but begins to grow on you a little bit. The food is excellent, and everyone is all of these fae are now very, very interested to hear whatever it is you guys say. So I'm sure they're like, tell us a story, tell us where you came from, tell us of your homeworld, Usul, all of those kind of things that, they're basically like, tell us more until it's the night is well in the dark, and you guys begin yawning and saying, well, it's close to time for bed. They get you sorted out, and you get a nice overnight rest, a night's sleep in your cave, undisturbed and safe.
So do you anyone think using magic device would help with the mirror or the hair?
It's possible, I suppose. The vibe you get. So what? Let me say this: the vibe you get from the hair is that it's not a magical device of any kind. It has some
Oh,
inherent
no.
magic in it,
Got
but the box itself is not magical. It's just very
Valuable.
finely crafted and valuable. Yeah, if you want to
Valuable to somebody. The hair inside was valuable to somebody too.
seems so. The weird thing is, it was probably the only valuable thing you found in Guinevera's possession, right? So she had a little larder full of rotten animals that apparently was what she ate. She had a scrubby little blanket and a mud floor, which is where she lived and slept. And then she only had two other things that could be called possessions. One is the mirror, which is still there. And the other is this stone altar, which at some point was dragged in there, and the little golden box with the hairs in it. And that's really it. There was nothing else in there.
Okay, great. Well, let's keep it for now. I don't know what to do with it. Maybe we can find the original owner.
It's possible. The box itself is pretty valuable. An appraise check would tell you that a thick gold box like this, well crafted, silk lined, probably 150 gold pieces in any marketplace worth its salt.
Wow.
All right. The next morning, so you guys rest, you get a good night's sleep, and everything seems normal. You wake up relatively early in the morning to the sound of Papuvin outside. And he's like, friends, chosen of Anyariel, please, I'm sorry to disturb your slumber, but Anyariel has spoken to me. I know the location of Tamber. I can tell you. I can tell you the way. I will go with you.
Let's
Please
go.
come forth. We have brewed Fey coffee for you and are making biscuits. And I know the way to Tamber. I know the way. So if you guys open the sort of mat and you're like, Jesus, Pefufin, it's like 6 a.m. He's like, grabs a hold of whoever comes out first. I'm assuming it's Wraith. Just grabs a hold of Wraith and is like, Lord Wraith, I can tell you right now, I know the way to Tamber. Anyariel has spoken to me in a dream, and I know the way. It is. We follow the path of the river back into the fire forest, and we go up on the great hill, and there we will find the dryad in her glory. We know. And Anyariel has shown me. He's really quite excited.
Can you draw me a map?
Yeah.
Well, he's like, I will lead you there myself. It would be my honor to take you to the home of Tamber so that you may speak with her.
Can you do it quietly?
Of course, I can be as quiet as a mouse in the woods. It is my nature, you know, as a Fey.
I mean, without speaking.
You mean right now or later?
Both.
Yes.
Good. I'm gonna go back in the cave.
Okay, so Papuvin shuts up, but he's like, you see him go over to some of the day. He's like, prepare food and water for travel. We will need enough for the chosen of Anyariel and myself. I will go with them. And you can hear Tilgen in the background going, I'm going too. And Papuvin's like, you've caused enough trouble around here. You're not going anywhere. But he's basically gathering up supplies for the trip. When the chosen are ready, make sure that they have breakfasted well, and while I gather up more supplies that we may need, and together I will lead them to Tamber's. And they're like, okay, that's great, Papuvin. And so they all start working. As you guys come out, they're bringing bowls of bread, platters of bread, and food, oatmeals and things like that they've made into into various sorts of breakfast things. They've got butter and honey primarily that they dump in there for you guys. So very, very solid food. And eventually you see Papuvan over here, and he is standing and he's got the first thing you guys notice is that you guys are sort of cleaning up for breakfast and you see Papuvan sort of standing over there almost at attention, but certainly waiting for you guys to sort of get done. And he is got this weird sort of web gear on that looks homemade, from which he's attached like 8 water skins, and they're just sort of swinging in front of him. And you definitely get the impression that he's not used to this. He's got a big pack on his back that's only sort of like tied down a little bit. Your guess is that that's full of food, and from somewhere he has gotten this sort of short iron scimitar without a scabbard that he's just sort of like jammed into his belt to carry around, and he's waiting patiently and proudly, frankly, for you guys to join him, and he will lead you to a thing. He is, as you have commanded, Lord Wraith, chosen of Anyariel. He is not speaking.
Wow.
So once we're all together, we can just sort of move out.
He will be like, you sort of like, you just say, all right, let's go. And Papuvan nods to you, nods to the rest of you, sort of adjusts the pack shoulders and begins moving forward up this little gully without speaking. Every once in a while, as you guys get into the forest, he will sometimes get a little bit ahead of you because he is Fey. He knows his way in the woods, and he'll slow down and he'll sort of like wave you on, but he continues to not speak.
Well, I'm going to try to stick as close to him as I can, but doing it stealthily.
Okay.
And if we're, whatever, 30, 40, 50 feet ahead of everybody else and being quiet, that would be good.
All right. Sounds good. You guys truck through the forest for a while. It's a couple of hours. And, there's a couple of times when Papuvan sort of like zigs and zags and he has to sort of slow down and wait for you. He's as a Fey, he's obviously pretty comfortable. These are his forests, and he's like waving you on, but he still doesn't speak. And eventually you begin finding yourself moving uphill. The fire forest is still burning away, and it's pretty rough. The heat is pretty tense, but you still have just the last of that ointment that Torrent gave you. So you use the last of it, and you're like, it's gonna get, as you pass the last couple of bottles around, you're like, it's gonna get pretty hot up in here. I hope we can figure out what to do next. As you guys move the thing, it's about you guys go about 4 or 5 miles deep into the fire forest, and this is as deep into this forest as you guys have ever been. You don't recognize any of this space, and you at once you see Papuvan stop, and he waits for you guys to catch up. And as you catch up, he says, he just points, and he looks at you sort of meaningfully, and he points up into the hill. As far as you can tell, that hill looks to be like completely on fire. Whatever's going on over there, but there's also seems to be a huge flaming willow tree sort of at the apex of the hill. And you're given, but even though Papuvan hasn't speak, you're given to understand that could be that he's indicating that's where she is.
Okay. So now whispering, since we're close to everybody else, how do we want to try to get up there?
I'm pretty sure you can walk up there. I mean, it's not too far.
But it's on fire, correct?
It's kind of on fire. Now the stuff will protect you to a certain extent, but it may not for forever.
Right.
I have a drench spell. I could maybe create a little bit. I mean, I don't think it's going to touch such a huge fire, though.
Yeah. And well, the thing that I'm concerned with is we don't know how this creature is going to react yet. So I was hoping to be able to get close enough without him, her, whichever it is, knowing that we were there. Which may not be possible. But that was the whole point, to try and keep the Fey
Right.
Lord quiet, because otherwise his nonstop chattering would have let them know we were coming for miles.
Would obscuring mist just get burnt off in the fire? I would expect that it would.
Potentially, yeah.
And so this is the fire nymph, right?
Yeah, Tamber is a creature of fire, where Guinevera was a creature of water. Tamber is a creature of fire, and they will tell you that it was Tamber who told them to sing. It was Tamber who ordered them to sing to keep the fire forest from basically immolating everyone. So it was a while back that the fire forest sort of got worse. And while, historically the fire forest has had its ups and downs from a point of view of being fiery, but mostly it was okay. Normal people could come through it. There were fires, there was burning, but it was avoidable. For a while now, the fire forest has been like engulfed in fire. And you guys suspect, with your knowledge that you've gotten, is that this is the effect of Indomitable being here, that his presence lends the fire forest a certain extra fiery quality.
And this
Is there a way we
Tambor,
can-
and this Tambor person is the one that told them to keep singing, which effectively keeps them trapped.
Correct.
Which in theory makes the fire forest more fiery, which would be to her advantage because she's a fire creature.
Correct. I mean, I don't know if you're correct. I can't argue with your logic.
Yeah, so that would be, like I said, Ray's not a magical guy and he's not that bright, but that would seem to be the logical connection.
Can we draw her out rather than going in? Is there a way, something that would attract her attention, pull her
The only
out?
thing that I would say that would counter what your logic is the fact that when they stopped singing for like 10 seconds, something got much hotter underneath the lake.
Well, and that could have been Indomitable preparing to escape back to his own plane. Just because for 10 seconds things looked like they were going sort of wonky doesn't mean that wouldn't be good in the long run. So my whole thing is, at this point, the one telling them to keep doing what they're doing, which has kept Indomitable trapped, is the one that benefits the most from fire.
Mhm.
True.
Well, I like Bondrum's idea to try to lure it out. If it looks like it's too dangerous to climb the hill, then maybe we gotta try.
Can we safely get up any closer?
I mean, yeah, you got the protection from the ointment, and you can sort of pick your way through. You can get up there.
Well, as another option, do you guys want me to try and scout it? Staying stealthy and trying to get close enough to see more so we have more information? Or do you just all want to,
Sure. I mean,
I'm
that
okay with that.
Yeah,
or do you all want to try to go there at once?
I just want to parlay with her, but yeah, extra information couldn't hurt.
Does
All right.
Papa Von think that she's dangerous to us?
So Poe, you go to Papavan and say, do you think is Tamber dangerous? He's like, oh, she is as powerful as any fae I have ever known. But no, she is a friend to all fae of the forest. She is whom we look to for leadership and guidance. I mean, we don't do that often, but it was she who ordered us to sing, and it was you who confirmed that is what we were to do. So obviously Tamber speaks with the voice of Anyariel in all things, as do you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, this was the same group of people who trusted the owl boy.
right.
Yeah.
And that was wrong. We were wrong about that. But you helped us. So basically, I mean, yeah, they'll flat out admit that they were wrong about Vul and the guys who were like sort of his posse. Basically, were the first guys back to start singing again. Once you guys were thinking, and Popovin freely admits it. He's like, look, I was misled. I was wrong. I will never be wrong like that again. What you guys say is the truth, and it has been proven to me by Anyariel that you are the chosen of Anyariel.
So I'm gonna try to do my stealthy scout thing.
Okay.
And trust in this ointment to sort of protect me.
Trust the ointment.
Yeah, well, hopefully. It's
All
done,
right.
it's done us fairly well so far. I don't think have gone into a place as sort of bad as this yet.
Dangerous
So-
as this? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty
so
it's pretty
we'll-
fiery.
we'll see, but I'll take my time and be stealthy and see if I can get up to where I can get more information for the group to make a decision on.
Okay. All right. So give me a stealth roll. Okay, 24. All right, so you begin picking your way up the hill towards this big flaming willow tree, and it's hot. You find yourself a couple of times going, "Ouch, geez, I put my feet in a bunch of coals and that kind of stuff." But you do manage to pick your way up the hill. Once you get near the top, you begin to see a couple of things. One, the fire seems more concentrated around the tree than around the edges, the rest of the foliage around the hill. In fact, in some cases, there are trees and bushes and foliage that are more smoldering than flaming. It's definitely the tree that's on fire. You look at the tree itself, though, and it is underneath, it is a black willow type tree, but it doesn't seem to be consumed by the fire. It's burning, but it's not burning up.
Okay.
If that makes sense. It just keeps burning. Up there, at first you kind of squint. It's hard to see because you're looking directly into the flames, but you do see what looks to be movement in the flames. And you also, as you peer through, you take a little bit longer time, you can see what looks to be, in addition to the movement sort of moving around in the flames, there does look to be something or someone against the trunk of the tree, just sort of standing there. And you can see like maybe arms and like sort of up into the tree limbs, like really long arms sort of up into the tree. But it looks like maybe a person. You can't make out anything because of the fire, and it looks black behind there, so you can't make out any detail. But it looks like there's something moving around in the fire, for one, maybe multiple somethings. And there is also looks to be some sort of black figure next to the tree and maybe holding on to the tree, maybe, or something like that. You don't know. That could be Tamber. She is some sort of powerful fae. Maybe, I mean, if Guinevera was a nymph of the water, she may be a dryad of some kind. You don't know of any dryads that are fire dryads, though.
Right. If I spend a minute and watch the figure, up against the tree just sort of hangs out, doesn't really do much.
Does not move. But you do see
the
other creatures.
movement.
Yeah, so they're smaller, maybe animals, because they're low to the ground and they seem to move like animals, but you never get a clear look at them because they never come out of the fire. But there may be the best, clearest look you get at one of them, and there's definitely more than one, but you're not sure how many. Okay. The best, clearest look you think is maybe some sort of animal that's maybe 3 foot high at the shoulder, maybe 5 feet long.
Okay.
Moving around in the fire.
All right. Well, I'll collect that information.
Okay.
Which I have no skill or knowledge to do anything with.
Okay.
And then I'll move back down towards the group and try and give them as accurate a report as I can about the things moving around in the fire and the creature that seems to be just sort of pinned up against the tree within the fire. And then they can do their knowledge nature and knowledge whatever checks to see if they can figure out what the hell I saw.
Okay. So he tells you that story. What do you guys think about it?
I'll do a knowledge nature check.
What'd you get on knowledge nature? Hold on a second. Let me take a look. 16. Despite your experience with this sort of natural phenomenon, you can't think of any time that you've known or heard of a story of a dryad to be associated with fire itself. Dryads are tree creatures, tree spirits, and invariably they are, they, in the stories and tales that you've heard, they are very much against fire. Now, a dryad of the fire forest might be less against fire, but you have no knowledge or experience of that. Dryads will often live inside their trees. you know, and sort of merge with them, and that's why sometimes they're very hard to find. In this case, but you do know that a dryad's tree is incredibly important to them, and if the tree is chopped down or dies of disease or something like that, almost always, it's very rare that you hear that a dryad whose tree is destroyed or dies does not die with it.
And I'll let them know that the tree's burning, but it doesn't seem to be harmed by it, if that makes any sense. It's not being consumed. So I don't know that the fire is doing any damage to the tree. If that helps.
Like a magic fire.
I'm good at sneaking up and seeing stuff. I'm just not that bright. So
There was a thing that it was like moving, and then another thing.
it was
moved.
totally like burning.
Yeah, it was like a burning somewhat, and then there was this guy, and you know, so that's it basically.
I'm not that stupid. Come on. I just don't have any of the knowledge skills to try to put any of this together. And if anybody just sort of tossing it out there, I know knowledge nature is usually used for the Fae and stuff, but if anybody has knowledge planes, that might be,
I was just
Yeah,
sitting
I
here thinking
do.
about planes. Can I try
That-
that, Les?
if it's a fire
Sure.
plane thing because of Indomitable, that might be something.
So 17. It could be. I mean, it could be another fire creature is doing something there, but you know, but it smells like dryad. The problem is that this dryad is behaving in ways that no dryad that you've ever heard of has behaved before.
Well, that water
The-
chick
the
wasn't
dryad
really
looked-
behaving like a normal water chick, so.
True.
Did it look distressed at all?
Not that I could tell. It was just hanging out against the tree. It seemed to be fine. Like I said, the tree was in full flames, but it didn't seem to actually be burning up the tree itself. So
What does
I don't know
Papa then say about Tamber?
I don't know if that's magic or if it's,
Well, he's known Tamber for a long time, you know, for decades. And while she does not regularly come to the Sela village, occasionally she does, usually to give them guidance or to give them directions on something to do. So it wasn't necessarily unusual for Tamber to come down and tell them that they had to sing and to ensure that whatever was in, you know, to make sure that the fire forest was protected and did not escape beyond its borders that it was already, you know, trying to breach. They never questioned it. They, you know, she's a wise one of the wood is the words he used. So while they don't necessarily pay her homage, they are, if there's any worshiping going on, it's to Anyariel. But Tamber is associated very strongly with Anyariel, as was Guinevera, and so they give her a lot of respect.
But is she associated with fire? Is what I was trying to figure out. Has she always been?
Well, she's always been part of the fire forest, but I mean, what he would say is like she's not a fire creature or anything like that. She's a dryad of the forest.
well, she seems to be behaving like a fire creature now.
It's like I don't know what to tell you. That's strange. And then he gets a sort of a look on his face, like a sudden realization. He's like, I hate to admit it, but I wouldn't. Yesterday morning, I wouldn't have admitted such a thing. But perhaps Tamber, like Vul, has been corrupted in some way. Is it possible that a creature as powerful and as good as Tamber could be defiled in this manner? He seems forlorn. I can't believe this is happening to us. And if that's the case, and then you see him go like, if that's the case, then perhaps she serves herself by ordering us to sing. But wait, you are the chosen of Anyariel, and you told us that was good. So this cannot be. I am certain that this is that Tamber is not. It goes to show, since you as the chosen on Anyariel have reaffirmed what she told us to do, she could not possibly be corrupted in the same manner as Vul. Again, you have shown us the proper way.
We didn't affirm it. We just said keep doing it for now till we can figure out what's going on. We're not affirming anybody's.
He sort of took that ball and ran with it.
Well, I'm clearing that up for him.
Are you
How
saying?
close is she, Les?
She's just up at the top of the hill, so maybe 50 meters.
Okay,
So-
Sandar's gonna play his normal social skills and say, let's just run up there and talk to her.
Well, that was what I was about to ask. Do we want to go as a group? Or if
Yeah.
we're going up there to try to parlay, do we want to pick?
Yeah, if we're not sure about her, then yeah,
Do
we
we
go
wanna
as a group, because
the
if the parlay
charismatic
goes
one?
south, then we do a different kind of parlay.
Okay.
All right, so you guys are just going to go up there. Are you going to bring Papovan with you?
Yeah, he seems to know her.
Yeah, but he could get in the way.
I just want the recognition from him that, yes, that's her, and hopefully, since he says that she's a, not deity to them, but some super important thing, that I'm hoping if his story holds true, then hopefully that'll help us out as far as meeting her.
Well, maybe you keep him with you.
Okay.
And since I've been up there and seen some of the other angles up to the top, maybe we all go, not necessarily everybody a different direction, but we sort of fan out and go up so that we have sort of the thing encircled when we get there,
Yeah, I don't mind going front and center, and
take whoever the face is with you.
so that'd probably be Titus.
I was saying, I'm pretty sure that's Andrew.
All right.
So Erndar was saying, Titus, just stay right behind me, but yeah, we'll let you do the talking.
Okie dokie.
And I'm gonna try to sneak up on the far side where some of the trees were just smoldering.
So before I go up and parlay, just because I've been trying to re-register Excel so I could use the only, I don't multitask well. What do I need to get across here?
We just want to know why she told the people to sing, what that's doing, and basically everything about what's going on.
Okay.
We want to know why she told them to do it, what's there, what happens when they stop, and what's going on with her and the water nymph, and what was the deal with her and
as a non-fire creature, why is she
blonde
hugging
chick,
a
and-
burning tree?
Gotcha. Okay.
so we just want to know everything about her, and then her relationship with the group, and how why she told them to start singing, how she knew about that. Did she cast a spell to make something work, or
Okay.
we just want to know what's going on so we can make an educated decision. Do they need to keep singing or no?
Got it. And so do we know anything more of her than she's just a dryad and for some reason she's living in a burning tree, even though she shouldn't be?
Yeah, apparently there were 3 fairly tough entities that kind of all hung out together. She's one of the 3, and she's the last one left alive.
Yeah,
Okay.
nice work, guys. Chosen on Anyariel.
And they had a falling out. So the water chick that Fool
So,
killed was not happy with her.
right. So we are really just looking for as much information about this situation as possible from every angle, because
Right.
Before it
what
devolves
little we
into a
know, we're
combat.
not certain that it's actually true.
Gotcha.
And then it'll devolve into a combat and we'll kill her. So it's
Right.
Ah!
And that's why I'm up front. So when that happens, you've got a round to run away while I block you.
As a party in a dungeoneering group that has played together for a long time, perhaps capture could be sort of a challenge that you set for yourselves.
Are you going to give us double experience points for it? Like 13C? Because if you do that, we're all over it.
dude, I just put arrows in shit. Don't
I
put those-
could go 150 on those. Yeah. But so in 13C, you guys were like tantamount to cops. So yeah, capture was better than murder.
Yeah, don't put those moral obligations on
Right.
me. I just put arrows in shit.
All
Like I said, I don't want to capture it all. I just want to talk to her.
right. So
More information.
as you guys move forward, you see the tree sort of in the distance. You can see those things that that Wraith talked to you about. And basically it's basically the same thing. There's a while the hill itself is, got spotchy fire on it, the tree is totally in flames, and there do seem to be things moving within the fire. It's hard to get a good look at them. Got it, Poe. But there's something over there. You see, as you approach closer, you do see that what Wraith is said as is essentially accurate. You see what looks to be some sort of figure up against the tree with, their arms sort of stretched out and in contact with the tree. There does, as you get closer, there does seem to be a bit of fire sort of curling around the creature's arms and head and body and that kind of stuff as it's connected to the tree. Papavin seems disconcerted. He's like, is that, and he's sort of stumbling forward a little bit towards her, and he's like,
I want
Milady Tamber, are you okay? And he looks around and he's like, I've never seen her like this before. She must be injured, but she may be injured. We have to help her.
Okay, stay back here. Stay. No, stay. Just like I'll be. Okay, Titus, come up here and.
You will help her, won't you? You will, chosen of Anyariel? I know you. Never mind. It's a foolish question. I'm so embarrassed. I'm always doubting you. I know you will help her.
So I'm going to cast Detect Evil.
Detect Evil on. Okay. What's the range on that? You get close enough where you're casting it. Are you casting it on her or?
No, it's a 60-foot range, but I'm going to cast it so it moves with me. It lasts for 40 minutes, and it's a 60-foot cone.
Okay. All right, 60-foot conage. Yeah, as you get closer to her, your detection of evil takes in there's some sort of creature moving around in the fire, which you haven't been able to really identify all that well yet. They do not give off evil, and as you get close enough where you begin to feel the presence of something fey in you realize that you're not getting any evil vibes off of that either.
Okay.
So that was different from the owl thing, right? Because that was pretty much evil right from the get-go.
It seemed like it, but it was high. It was trying. You got definitely the impression that it was trying to hide it.
Yeah. Okay, Titus, you're up.
Keep it going.
Okay.
The creature, the form against the tree has not moved or spoken. Although the creatures that seem to be moving amongst the flames have seemed to be getting more agitated. They're moving faster. They haven't come out of the flames though yet.
So we'll stop where we're at and
Okay.
Titus, come up behind me and call out to her, see if you can get her to come out and talk to us.
Hail, Tamber. We wish to speak with you.
You don't hear anything but the crackling of flames from over there. No
Any
response.
reaction from her?
Not that you can see. She doesn't seem to have moved.
You're still carrying that hair with you, right? In that gold box? Titus?
Sure, yeah. Why, should I put the hair on like a wig?
No, just tell her we have something for her from what's her name? And I can't get these names straight.
I can't.
Anyariel.
And you're, what was it again?
Anyariel.
Anyariel?
Yeah, that one. So you got something for her from her.
Tamber, we have something very special from Anyariel. We thought we would seek your counsel and wisdom, and maybe you could tell us what it is and what should be done with it.
That's the way to do it.
All right. Well, that got her attention. So as you guys are
So she
watching,
attacks. No.
you see she immediately flies over and attacks with fire. No, you see the head. The moment you say the word Anyariel, her head sort of like jerks to the side, and you can see she's still obscured from vision as far as you, because the fire's in front. You can't really see her. You see the arms, which are incredibly long, sort of kind of like. And she begins to move forward. You see her step through these flames, and these creatures kind of like skedaddle off to the side to make way for her, that kind of thing. They're still staying in the fire. And she steps out to the edge of the fire and looks at you. And now you can see her more clearly. And she looks like this.
Very pleasant.
She looks like a woman with coppery skin, dressed in a sort of shift, and fire and embers kind of like swirl around her, and smoke comes from, comes from up her off her hair and stuff like that. And she says to you, and she says, "I know not who you are, human. You are human, right, Titus?"
No,
He's an Azamar.
I'm
Asimar. I know not who you are, Asimar, but who are you to speak of Anyariel with such familiarity to me?
well. We've spoken to two of your other, may they rest in peace, comrades, Anyariel and the other.
Well, we haven't spoke with her. We spoke with Anyariel's protector or whatever.
Well, she doesn't need to know that. It was Anyariel's proxy.
Anyariel's dead, so.
Yeah, she's dead, so that's kind of important that you spoke with.
Yeah, she
Well,
would. Well, it was on you. The stuff that you've heard is that Anyariel's death is what caused the rift between Guinevera and Tamber. You're not sure
Okay.
what about it caused it, but that was what caused it.
Got it. So let's see. I don't know Anyariel, not very well, and not in person. I know of her, and I know Guinevera and have spoken. We've also spoken to many of the Fae.
My hated sister Guinevera. May she rot in her water with all the fish and creatures that she eats. You have spoken with it?
Actually, about that.
You have spoken with the hated Guinevera? What lies did she tell you? What chicanery did she present to you? And Tamber steps forward towards you more.
Right now, it doesn't really matter what she told us because we hear so many good things about you from Papuvin.
Yes, indeed, Tamber, it is you. It is I, Papuvin of the Fae of the Sela village. Yes.
Zip it.
He steps off to the side, but you can tell he's really pleased to see Tamber and see you guys talking with Tamber. And you can see he's like wanting to. I gotta tell her.
Never mind what was spoken. What's important now is what you speak. We need to know what is going on and how we can help the Fae and help all of us. What do you know of this fire and this singing and why this is happening?
It was I who commanded the Sela Fae to sing. Isn't that true, Papuvin? Yes, indeed, that is true.
And so he
It was
said,
I
but
commanded
why?
them. It is
But
I.
why?
Because Indomitable has come within me and within my creatures and forces me to do so. Forces me to protect them. I know what Indomitable would do loosed in the fire for us. Even now, his presence has created all this. Were he
What
to
is
be
it you think he
were he
would
to be
do?
released, he would the entirety of this forest would be in unassailable flames. All of us would die were he to be released.
I don't know. The Indomitable Snowman says quite the opposite. He just wants to go home and get a hot meal.
Are you referring to Bumbles? I have heard of them. I've heard they bounce.
I know not of what
Indomitable, the Indomitable flame creature is a creature from some horrifying flame plane. It came here unbidden, destroyed our forest, ramped up the flames so that nothing lives, murdered entire villages. It must be kept in check, and that is why Papuvin and the Fae must sing.
So if they stop singing, Indomitable is on the loose.
He is released and he will destroy everything he touches. It is only by dint of of effort from the three of us, Anyariel, Guinevera, and I, that we were able to lock him to the bottom of that
But-
pitiful lake of Guinevera's.
How do you lock him down there?
That is another story in itself.
Well, I'm sensing
Anyariel,
motive.
Anyariel, in the time of great crisis in the forest, when Indomitable came here and the Chalaxians warred against the elves of the forest, Anyariel came to rest in my glade, and I cared for her after a battle. And she gave me a great gift, a branch made from the tree of life, something, a part of herself. And with that branch, she fashioned a sword that I assisted her in making the sword. And in this, she drove back the Chalaxians. It is that sword, when the forest was infiltrated by something vile, a creature of fire, which infested the nightmares of the creatures of the forest and would not let natural death take its course, that Anyariel died imprisoning the creature at the bottom of Guinevera's lake with the sword, pinning it to the earth itself. And it was I that brought the Fae to sing the Song of Forms to ensure that that sword could never be released.
So I rolled a 15 on a sense motive. What am I picking up?
She basically is telling you, well, as far as you can tell, she's telling you the truth. Basically, the story is that Anyariel and Guinevera Anyariel and Tamber met when Anyariel was sort of a warrior queen of the elves of the Fire Force, of the Indomitable. And she talks about a time when the Chalaxians, and she says the Chalaxians, but she probably means the Sargavans, who are Chalaxian colonists, essentially, were attacking and killing and raiding elven villages in the Indomitable. And basically, Anyariel came here wounded and was nursed back to health by Tamber and potentially Guinevera, although she didn't mention her. And basically she said, and Tamber said, I gave as a gift, we got a branch of the tree of life, which she calls, which you're not sure what that is, and essentially fashioned a sword out of it. And that sword was given to Anyariel, and she went back to fight the Sargavans. When Indomitable came here, Anyariel fought it and was killed. And as part of pinning Indomitable at the bottom of Guinevera's lake with the sword made from the tree of life, Anyariel was killed as part of that. And that's what caused her death. And because of whatever went down during that period, that's why Tamber and Guinevere hate each other.
Who's telling us that?
Tamber.
Okay.
And she's basically saying, I told the Fae to sing the song because the sword itself is not sufficient to keep it pinned. The Song of Forms needs to be sung by Fae to keep the sword of life buried in the earth at the bottom of the thing. That's what keeps the sword buried. If they didn't sing, Indomitable himself could remove the sword, and then he would be released on the Fire Force again to create destruction. And the likelihood is that without Anyariel now, there is no creature left in the Fire Force that is strong enough to stop him.
Okay, so the song doesn't keep the fire thing down there. It just keeps the sword in place, which is keeping him down there.
Yes, that's what Tamber would explain.
So if he's pinned and can't move, then isn't he vulnerable?
How is he getting out controlling things in the forest?
Well, she would explain to you that his mere presence here is enough to create problems with the Fire Force, especially since the Fire Force was the Fire Force. This is a natural place for him to extend his ability to manipulate fire, to control it. But even when he's not trying to control it, his mere presence causes these things to happen. And his presence here is what basically ramped up the Fire Forest from average Fire Forest to burning the shit out of everything Fire Forest. And that's why she's like, look, the fire, we can't let him loose again because he'll destroy everything if we let him loose. So we're basically taking the best of a bad lot here. We've got the Fae making sure the sword isn't removed. We've got the sword pinning him to the ground. We've got the water dampening his effect and keeping him from exercising control over fire at a distance, at least consciously, which you guys would know that he can already do because he was out in the fire forest, sort of as a
Yeah, he controlled some big beetle that killed
He
one of
can-
our.
right. So he's already extending his control, but she doesn't necessarily know that. That's what basically this is bad, but if the alternative is much worse, is basically what she was saying.
So is there no way to permanently get rid of him?
I know of no such way. There must be. He was brought here. He must be able to be returned, but I know of no way to do it.
Who brought him here?
That I don't know either.
And
I suspect that it was the Chilaxians who brought him here to serve as some sort of horrifying soldier when they could not defeat the elves of the Inundadar, and that their soldier got out of their control.
And who exactly are you, and how does someone who appears to be a dryad live in a fiery tree?
I do what I must. I protect my tree from the destruction that the Indomitable wishes to destroy it. For to destroy my tree would be to destroy me, and there is nothing that Indomitable wants more than to destroy me. The one who aided Anyariel in defeating him and pinning him to the earth, and keeping him from destroying the fire force as he wanted to do.
So would a perception check give me any kind of indication of what she really is?
Sure, if you want. I mean, and you could do knowledge natures or something like that as well. I mean,
Okay.
you've heard of dryads.
Right. Well, I've got planes, arcana, and religion. Or I could do
Detect evil
perception.
going, Les.
Huh?
I still got the detect evil going. If she ever.
She's not evil. She's not radiating evil. And the sense motive check that Titus did earlier, did not give you any indication that anything she's saying is lying. You look around with the perception check, you can see that although her tree is scorched, the fire does not seem to consume it. So she seems to you don't know much about dryad magic or fey magic. That's really Poe and Vondrum's thing, but really Poe's thing. But it's possible that she is protecting her tree somehow to keep it from burning. But that if Indomitable was here, like in her presence on this hill, that she might not be powerful enough to keep Indomitable from destroying her tree, and therefore destroying her. Hence the reliance on Anyariel and Anyariel's sword to keep the thing pinned.
So I don't notice any testicles on her neck.
No testicles. She doesn't radiate evil. She seems to be what she appears to be, which is a dryad of the forest. Now, she's also a dryad of the fire forest, which means she probably has more affinity for fire than other dryads would. But this is a lot more fire than she's probably wanting to have around here. But it could be that her magical ability and her affinity with her own tree is enough to protect it from the fire that exists now. But she's resolute in telling you that if they stop singing, Indomitable will release himself and he will destroy the Inundar forest in his rage.
What do you know of Vool and why Vool would want to stop the singing?
She looks around and she looks at Papuvin and she says, Papuvin, is Vool lobbying to stop the singing? Why would he do something so unwise? Vool is a wise creature of many years.
It wasn't him.
If not Vool, who was it?
Some scary.
Well, that's what we're
thing.
wondering. We're hoping you would know.
I know nothing of this. Papuvin, what is going on here? And Papuvin sort of looks and goes, Vool was taken from us and replaced with some sort of evil creature that pretended to be Vool. And that creature tried to persuade us, and it succeeded in persuading many to stop the song that keeps that I now know keeps this indomitable creature at the bottom of the lake. Perhaps he had some sort of horrible reason to do this, but now I know that the chosen of Anyariel, who you see before you, have told us, have explained to us the error, and they defeated Vul and killed the creature within him. And so at that point, when Puvin says that, sort of Tamber looks at you guys as chosen of Anyariel. Oh yes, says Puvin. They have come to us from afar with the blessings of Anyariel to tell us, to explain to us, and defeat our enemies, and explain to us and reaffirm. You do not be angered, Tamber. They have reaffirmed your order for us to sing. You should have seen it, Tamber. The whole village sang the Song of Forms to keep what I now know is the sword of Anyariel buried deep within this creature that you hate. They have done us a great service. They are truly chosen of Anyariel. She looks at you, you guys, with like, what?
Really?
And she kind of looks at Puvin like, that idiot. I mean, she kind of looks at you, kind of like, you got him pretty snowed, don't you? What? And she says, out of sort of like a lower tone, she's like, what is the meaning of this chosen of Anyariel that you claim to be?
Okay, that's something, Arendar, step up. That's something that he gave to us, not something that we said.
Have you portrayed yourself to Puvin and his people, my people, that you have come bearing the word of Anyariel? Have you taken such a vanity for yourselves?
Arendar is going to look back at everyone and say, can I just tell her everything?
Might as well.
Fine with me.
She's getting a little aggravated. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
You get the impression she reveres Anyariel, and maybe more than reveres.
Arendar is going to very bluntly and very rapidly and very briefly just basically give the whole gist of what happened once we arrived in the Fire Forest. Going to touch on, we came in, got attacked by Indomitable. To save our lives, we kind of made a deal that we were going to release him before we knew everything. We stumbled across Anyariel's, I guess, buried, or wherever she was buried or something. We ran into a Gailey of hers, I guess is what you said it was. Anyway, ran into that.
Bone Devil.
Yeah.
Basically, Kazakh, you bring up Kazakh as well?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Like I said, Arendar is just getting us all out in the open, and if we need to come to fisticuffs, we do. But basically tell the whole story. We came here to stop the singing because that was going to allow us to get out of here. But the more we got closer to the town, we figured out something was off. So as we figured something was off, we decided to let's wait and take a step back and figure out what's going on. We found some information from this group who started calling us whatever they're calling us now.
The chosen of Anyariel?
Yeah.
Okay.
We went to meet your girlfriend. She came back, had not so nice things to say about you. She went in to talk to the fake owl guy. He killed her. And you are our last hope to figure out what's going on here so we don't screw things up and so we can get through this Fire Forest. And that's pretty much it. We're here to find as much as we can from you to figure out how to best get out of here without, screwing everyone and everything else over.
Okay. She just did a sense motive check on you, which is 28.
I'm being 100% honest.
And since you're being 100% honest and you're essentially presuming I'm going to say, look, we need your help here. She looks at you very curiously. Puvin is like, you guys didn't tell me any of this yet. What? That kind of thing. But she looks at you and she goes, I can see the truth in what you say. And I understand why you would be initially predisposed to release the creature, especially as Indomitable had you at a disadvantage. It pains me to think that Indomitable can extend such power so far away from his prison. But I have been here guarding my tree. It takes me a great deal of my magic to preserve my tree. But you say that Indomitable says that he will leave, that his only desire is to leave this plane. If he is released, that is what he asked of you?
Yeah.
Did you believe him?
At the time, we were kind of getting threatened with death, so we chose to extend our lives a bit. and believe him, but
And I'm pretty sure at the time, didn't we do sense motive
Yeah, we
checks? I don't
did.
remember
We
if they
did.
were any good, but
We believed him.
yeah, we believed that what he said was true.
But like I said, we got here, found out the fake owl creature was wanting them to stop singing. And the more we found out about that, which aligned with us, we thought, wait a minute, that might not be the best idea if an evil creature is wanting us to do that.
Well, yeah, she seems pretty confused. So she's like, basically, we've got two sides here. On one side is me and the Sela Faye saying we've got to keep singing, we've got to keep this guy pinned, because if he gets out, he's going to destroy the forest and everything in it. And you guys are saying that you guys actually interacted with some sort of avatar of his or some sort of projection of his power, defeated it, and spoke to him, and basically made a deal to release him so that he, according to him, could go back to his home plane and leave this place.
Right.
You also met a creature that you thought was a fae, but turned out to be some sort of unidentified evil creature that was also trying to convince you to release him.
Yeah. I wouldn't put much stock in him just because I think he's dealing with some other issue we're dealing with. But anyway.
And then Kazakh, this bone devil, also wants Indomitable released because it will aggravate, and if I remember correctly, it will aggravate his masters, or there's that kind of thing. Or no, he's made it. I remember now. Kazakh has made a similar deal with Indomitable because he ran into Indomitable before you guys did and was like, I promise I'll try to help you, because he wants the Indomitable's boon for himself as well. So he wants to release him because the reward that Indomitable has promised you for release is something called Indomitable's boon, which you don't know what it is, but it's some sort of magical benefit that only he can provide.
Yes.
And additionally, Kazakh, or whatever his name is probably all about irritating the Chilaxians because he didn't like being summoned and enslaved.
Well, he's hoping that the copies that you guys are supposed to give him of the papers that you're taking will fulfill his contract, and he'll be able to escape essentially his bondage. Yeah, he'll be able to go back to the hells.
But I'm just saying, not only would he like to have Indomitable release for his own boon reasons, but if it irritated the Chilaxians, he would just like that even more.
Yeah.
If that's their summoned warrior and he can get rid of it, that would make him even happier.
Right.
So bottom line, our goal is to get through the fire forest. Indomitable made it clear that he was not going to allow us unless we freed him.
Right. And Kazakh sort of gave the impression that he might harry you as well if you guys didn't form up your part of the deal is there. Although not necessarily because of Indomitable. So what Tamber says to you, she's like, look, I can't go with you. I have to guard my tree. My magics are the only thing that keeps this fire from destroying my tree and killing me. I have to stay here. But I can tell you that the presence of the sword and Anyariel's sword in the Indomitable makes him weaker than he normally would be. So potentially, she goes, I could not, there was no way that I could kill him. But maybe in his weakened state, you've already defeated him on once. Maybe you can kill him again and drive him from this plane rather than release him. She's like, look, I got to be honest with you guys. On one hand, you guys seem legit. At the same, and you guys have a decent enough reason to initially propose to release Indomitable because he has convinced you that he wants nothing but to leave and go back to his home plane, which would be a legitimate kind of thing. At the same time, all the rest of us in the forest are pretty sure, she would say to you, I'm pretty sure that if you release him, he will destroy this forest and everything in it, including you. Releasing him would allow him to recapture the power that the being pinned to the bottom of a lake by the sword of life, by a sword made from the tree of life, is keeping him from doing. Then you've got at least two evil creatures that are on the side of release. Now we know both that devils are perverse and they wish nothing but to cause carnage. And now we have some sort of creature disguised as a fae trying to undermine my orders from within, essentially. That doesn't necessarily bode well for the idea that, releasing him, that he
It's
would
a good
follow.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're caught in a bit of a
So-
quandary here.
so
She's
this
like,
is
look,
why
I
I'm-
think you guys are legit. I think you guys are coming from a place of honesty, but I still believe that if we release him, he will destroy the forest.
So if we don't have that as an option, what's another option then? Because
We have to destroy it.
our ultimate goal is we need to get out of this forest. We've got people are doing things to see. So
She goes, although I hate to. Oh, did you tell her that Guinevera was killed by Vul?
yeah,
Okay. So normally she said, I would tell you to make an alliance with Guinevera, go down there and try to kill the creature while keeping him pinned to the lake floor. But with Guinevera gone and her power, and she's like, I hated Guinevera, but I would be the first to say that she was a powerful person, a powerful creature, with power that rivaled mine. And she could have been of great help there. But I don't know what happens when you kill a creature like this, but if it's summoned, and it was summoned by the Chilaxians, which the Bone Devil seems to indicate that was the case, and we always suspected that it was some sort of Sargavan plot, some sort of a Sargavan ally, killing it might force it back to its own plane. It might accomplish the job that you want.
so if we can somehow figure a way to attack it while it's underwater, it's going to be advantageous.
Yeah.
Or can we
potentially.
just free
as
it? and then
long
attack
as
it
it's
quickly?
well,
Well, then what constitutes freeing it? If we get the Fae to stop singing, but it's still held down by the sword made of the tree of life, it might come out of the lake or attempt to, but it's weakened, right? So at that point, if we are able to defeat it then, and it's summoned, it would go away.
Isn't it weakest now where it's pinned and held?
Yes,
in place
pinned
by the same?
and under
I mean,
the water, it would seem. Yeah,
Why don't we just go after it now?
Well, how do we go fight something at the bottom of a lake?
yeah.
Scuba
Drain
gear.
the lake.
Drain the lake.
Damn it.
Gonna say
Damn
if
right.
we
'Cause
Oh,
we
there's-
don't-
No, I'm
we were
thinking,
several levels higher, we've got spells and stuff that would allow us to do this, but right now we just don't have the tools to do this.
Exactly.
do we make a
There's-
commitment to
there's
come
a-
back when we do?
There's a potion of air bubble, which
Yeah. There's
lets us
one.
breathe, but and whether we can find one that around here.
Well, there's
Well, Papuvin speaks up at that time and says, "But look, not all, we live on the side of this lake here. There are herbs that might be able to provide something similar that might allow you to go down and be in the lake for limited periods of time. It wouldn't necessarily be magical, but there might be something herbal we could bring you, or
Gillyweed.
something like a gillyweed, or he says we could craft using wood and reeds, essentially masks that you could put on with a reed going to the surface. It would take us a couple of days, but we might be able to build something like that.
I think obviously breathing underwater is a major issue, which the snorkel gear or the gillyweed would solve. Fighting underwater is an entirely different thing.
yeah.
And if we're supposed to be sort of fighting this thing, we can't have people swishing swords through water that move at half speed, arrows that stop 5 feet from where you fired them. It doesn't work.
Right.
So Tamber looks at you and says, so what you're saying is that the best possible solution is to release the creature and try to defeat him when he comes out of the lake.
Well,
Can this creature fly?
I think best is probably a little overstated there.
Yeah.
The best solution would be able to have a way to be able to fight freely in water and attack it in its fully trapped position. But that is not an option that we currently have. So then the second sort of option from there is to half unpin it by stopping the singing. Let it rise above the lake where we can fight it on our terms, with us on land. And hopefully it will be weak enough because it's still pinned in water by the sword to be
Well, do
able
we-
to destroy it.
Do we know, can this creature fly? So if we free it, can it
It
just
can.
take to the air and then if it can
Well-
fly, then it's not going to stay down at our level.
Well, here's the thing. The creature has all this ability, and at this point it was able to send an avatar into a fire beetle, but if its full essence is pinned to the bottom of the lake, maybe it can't do that.
But if we free it, then even though it'll still be weakened, I don't think it'll still be able to fly, which then makes you the only person that can really hurt it.
Well, I get what you're saying. I'm just not sure that that's the case. So its essence is
What if we
pinned to
do
the
a
bottom.
combined attack? What if we do a little bit here, there, and everywhere? Like
Well,
I can be a water elemental. I'm sure we scraped up some stuff. We could maybe do some damage. on
well,
the
at
way
that
up.
point, Tamber sort of interrupts and says, if this is what will drive this creature from our, if this is the plan that will drive this creature from our forest, I will leave my tree and I will bring my servants with me, and we will fight alongside you in hopes that we will defeat it. And she turns to Papuvin, and Papuvin, you will arm all of your Fae with bows, and of the best you can, and you will form a cadre of arrows that will aid us as well. And Papuvin is like, I will do so. So she says, I will join you in this fight. If you think you can win it, I'll join you. I'll leave my tree. I'll come with you to the village. We'll release him and try to destroy him when he leaves the lake.
Is that sword that's holding him, does that have any martial value against him?
It absolutely does. It is the sword that I presented to Anyariel as a gift. It has great magics in it.
So if one of us who could use a sword could get that sword, would that help defeat the creature more quickly, or would that have any?
It is the sword which is kept Indomitable pinned to the bottom of a lake for a long time. If he was to feel its bite again, he would surely react. So
Right.
yes, she goes, I mislike anyone but Anyariel wielding that sword. It was my gift to her. But to destroy Indomitable, if you can use it, you should. On one condition, that you will return it to me, that I may keep it in her honor once Indomitable, if and when we defeat Indomitable.
I pull out my falcata, says, does it look like this?
No, it's more like a greatsword.
She's like, if not, this is my. this
Doesn't
is
look like that. It's more of a traditional elvish
Right.
greatsword kind of thing.
Right, but I'll just say, this is my poison, so.
So what all is she telling us then? Again, if we're willing to do this, she's willing to give us what kind of
Well, so she's
backup?
basically,
Military support.
yeah, she's basically ordered Papuvin to arm all of the Fae with bows and arrows, and they will form a cadre of archers that will shoot at anything that moves. She will come down with her servants, which in this case are the creatures that you see running around in the fire. You still
pigs.
don't get a good look at them, but they kind of look like
Flame pigs.
flame pigs. Yeah, they do. They look like boars.
How deep is this creature in the water?
About 40 feet.
Air bubble is a first level spell, so I can get that. It's a minute a level, but it's not going to help with movement.
Right.
So we still take penalties to attack, but
No.
we could get down there to it and attack it while it's pinned.
And we
Yeah,
could do like silly little stuff like dancing lights around its head, like, the old irritating old school stuff.
I mean, if it's stuck, you can just keep attacking it until we kill it. I'd rather try to kill it without letting it loose.
Well, and that's kind of my question. If they stop singing, it's
gonna pull the sword out and then it's free.
is that really what they said? Because I thought the more
The singing just
powerful
holds
part
the
of that.
sword in. That's
Oh,
all
okay.
it does.
Tamber will say,
So-
yeah, it's the Fae singing that keeps the sword. It's not so much that it keeps the sword embedded in him, but it keeps the sword embedded in the earth.
Ground.
It keeps it immovable.
Right.
Okay,
How do
So-
spells work underwater? Like, is there limitations when you fire off, like, I don't know. I guess a
Just
bolt of
range.
lightning would be a bad thing, but
I think it would depend on the spell, but
yeah, it depends on the spell. different ones are affected by being underwater different ways.
Electricity would be problematic.
I think
Uh,
lightning bolt becomes an area of effect. Instead
Oh,
of
that could
a,
be. I think you're right.
instead of a straight line, I think
Well-
it becomes basically like fireball.
Oh, that's not a bad thing.
As long as you
As long as
measure
you're not in it, yeah.
Those are back off, sure.
it.
May, obscuring mist, probably useless.
I think sonic damage is enhanced inside of water too.
Yeah.
Ray of Frost would still work.
Uh-huh.
Where are you guys gonna find a ray of frost though?
She's got 29 of them.
So basically, they just be shooting icicles through the water is what's going to happen.
So basically, Tamber goes to you and she says, "Look, I get that this is a desperate plan, but between the information that you bring and the fighting prowess that you bring to us, my powers, the powers of my servants, and the assistance of the Fae of the village, it's possible we can defeat it. But she'll look to you guys. And she's like, look, I'm no soldier. I don't know the ways of war. That was something that Anyariel was good at. I will go with you. I will fight as best I can. But I cannot make any claim as to being, a great warrior."
Did anybody tell her about the hair?
Yeah, that's how we got our attention.
Okay, so
We didn't
She
mention
would like,
specifically.
and she wants that back.
with the hair, with the divination magic, does that mean that they can communicate with whatever the essence of?
No, this is a gift that Anyariel. So she will be like, this was something that Guinevera and I took from Anyariel when she died, as in remembrance of her. Guinevera, we were supposed to split it, but Guinevera, we each take a portion to remember her by, despite our natural antipathy. But Guinevera stole all of the hair, and that was part of why I hate her. With Guinevera dead, the hair rightfully belongs to me. You may keep the box, but I must have the hair of my lady of the forest.
Yours.
Do you give it to her now?
She wants it.
Yeah, she basically will hold it in her hand, and you can see, although fire is sort of wrapping around her, when the little coil of hair hits in her hand, you see, rather than fire, the fire that's around her sort of retreats from her hand, and you can see that her hand sort of looks normal, and she sort of clasps it around. You see her take the hair and put it up against her heart, and she says, "You have given me a great gift today. I will fight with you if that's what we must do to Indomitable, to remove Indomitable from the fire forest."
See what else she'll do for the blue diamond necklace thing.
I have no reason to take anything from a blue diamond necklace, and it's probably Guinevere and shit.
Nice.
Hey, who else is summon monster?
So with her,
Or summon creature.
With-
monster.
with her dryad magic, does she have, I don't know what dryads can do. Does she have the ability to create like a giant air bubble or anything?
Looking at her spells, not really. She does not have anything like that. She's not a water creature. She is a tree creature.
Right, but I was thinking if she was like, well, she's a tree creature, but if she had like access to the air, what do they call them? I can't remember.
Like the air domain kind of thing.
Yeah, like the air domain thing.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. She has a few spells, but they are almost entirely plant related.
Okay.
There's
So-
plants in the bottom of the lake,
Yeah, I'm useless underwater.
but
Yeah, we can just put a big rock on you. You just got to get down there and
hold your
Yeah,
breath and go
and-
fast.
Hey, you were the first guy in the water when it came to checking out Guinevera's hovel.
I can hold my breath for a while, but if I shoot arrows at something, it's going to go about 3 feet and then stop.
Well, maybe it's you guys are going up and down and holding breath, swimming up the 40 feet back down like those pearl divers.
Why don't
I
we
can
just
do air bubble. I mean, I can get people down there and breathe them.
Yeah,
I can make you really big, and you can just keep punching them in the nose.
I can't fill it with arrows, is what I'm saying. They don't work well underwater.
You could jab
Yeah.
him right into him. He's pinned. You can just stand there with an arrow behind his head.
Is a fire creature even going to succumb to arrows?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I
Every-
just found out I can do sharks.
Everything that you poke holes in hurts.
That's true. All right, it's well after 11 o'clock, so we will return in the second week of May to find out what is going to happen with the battle for Indomitable, the battle for the Fire Forest. I
think we should
encourage
get
you guys
together,
to.
the rest of the team.
I think I encourage you guys to get together and do a little planning, because I will be as well.
Okay.
All
All
right,
right.
guys. Have a good one.
All right, thanks you
Nice.
guys. Excellent gaming tonight. Really appreciate it. Had fun.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.
All right, see y'all.
All right.